drivers. It's a brand new situation. Some of them only got as many as 8 laps yesterday, some less than that. Field is away into turn number 1, and Bill Elliott breaks away, leads by 2 car lengths in the high groove as they thunder into the first turn. There's Jeff Bodine, Mr. Consistency. He's finished every race that he has been in this year, running that second spot, and many thought he had Pocono wrapped up last week before the tires went away.
And he has been one driver that has given Elliott more problems than any other this year as far as speed is concerned, and a lot think that he's going to be very competitive here today.
Now remember, Cale Yarbrough's coming back on a 27th spot, the 6-time winner of this event. Pearson's back in there as well. Here's number 9, Elliott, trying to stretch it out, trying to pull further in front. And here comes Cale. Cale just blazing through cars. That blue car is the Ford Jody Donlevy car. Jim Schrader in the keyboard, and Cale is just whipping him off as he comes up to the rear.
That's Buddy Baker that is about to pass on the inside. It's a critical point of the race for the team because they didn't have time to get their car set up, not knowing exactly how they're going to handle on the track and in the traffic.
Waltrip taking second place. Number 11, Waltrip, right to the wall at 165 miles per hour. Number 93, running very slowly, drops onto the bottom of the track, and coming in is Morris Randall from Charlotte, Michigan, the only Chrysler car in the field.
Okay, we have word that Cale Yarborough and Phil Parsons jumped the flag on the start of the race. They might be getting the black flag and maybe have to make an unscheduled stop.
Only 37 cars started. There's Baker back on the outside running his own team this year, moving up on Cale Yarborough.
And Cale will be coming, well, we thought he was coming to the pit, but he has 4 laps to avoid that black flag if indeed they are throwing it to those 2 cars.
Back with the leaders, and there goes Waltrip trying to close. Waltrip trying to move up. James Hilton did not take the green. 37 cars starting from Bobby Allison's car. Here's Allison winding that machine up. Remember, he started in the 7th position today, and you see him now postured right behind Lake Speed,
who had such a fantastic run in the Daytona 500, coming home in 2nd place.
Allison trying to cut underneath him, and look at Waltrip trying to close ground. He's brought it down to about 7 car lengths. There's Bodine, line 3rd, the yellow nose on the Rick Hendrick car. From Elliott's car, you look back and see Waltrip creeping, crawling, moving up on the leader.
These 2, Elliott and Waltrip, have had a personal battle going on for pole positions this year. Elliott now leads with 5. Waltrip thought that he could tie this yesterday, but they didn't get to qualify, and it looks like that he has the speed in the early going here to challenge Elliott.
Now running in 3rd place is Ricky Rudd. The Budmore Ford is pulled up to 3rd. Bodine back to 4th. In 5th is number 33. And there you see Ricky Rudd in the 15 car taking a shot. Terry Labonte in the 6th position from 2nd in the early going.
Drafting is such a key factor on this racetrack, and as folks they're running there now, it really plays.
There's the number 28 number up on the board. Consultation flag out as they try to bring Yarborough in on that great charge he made. They say he jumped the flag.
And in the first couple of laps, he had moved from 27th to 18th position.
He has just not had a good year at all. Nothing has gone well for Cale Yarborough this year.
He has run very strong in most of the races, but he has only finished a very few.
161 mile per hour average, and Waltrip closes up at number 11. Bill Elliott trying to fend him off. Elliott off to the greatest start on a super speedway in Grand National history, having won 6 events, trying for 7, but here comes Waltrip, winner of the World 600 at Charlotte, down low of the Junior Johnson car, not getting through off turn number 4.
He thought he had the opening. He did have the opening in, but apparently the car didn't work just the way he needed it down on the inside. He'll try to set him up and make that move somewhere else. And here is Cale Yarborough now coming into the pit. It'll be a stop-and-go penalty for him. He should remain in the lead lap.
Let's go to Chris Economaki.
Okay, Cale Yarborough is overshooting his pit. Now whether that'll satisfy the officials, that brief fall, it didn't really come to a dead stop, but it looks like the official waved him on. Now that's the penalty, and it's been paid, so he's back in action. Back to you. Now let's go down to Mike Joy.
A lot of discussion here in the Phil Parsons pit. Phil, black flag for jumping the start as well. Heated discussion with a NASCAR official. They'll bring him in. They won't take time to fuel the car, just quick stop and go. He'll be in next time by.
It's important for them to stay in the lead lap, so they don't want to spend much time on pit road, but they've lost the draft, Cale Yarborough, and when Phil Parsons comes in, so they got a lot of making up to do.
Car number 8, Bobby Hillin Jr. is pulled on pit road. Running 7th behind the leaders now is Earnhardt. There's Bobby Hillin on pit road. Going 8th is Neil Bonnet. 9th is Bobby Allison.
The safety net has come loose on Bobby Hillin's car, so they've come in to do that. They are going to put a little fuel in the car while it's here. They'll send him back on the way.
Front 3 gathered up all together. 6 laps complete, 7 this time by. 200-lap race, 400 miles the distance. Live today on CBS. Will Bill Elliott on this Father's Day in that number 9 Ford Thunderbird do it again? He has been the driving force of Grand National Racing, currently number 1 of the points. He's trying to fend off Waltrip. He lost his race and lost the World 600 in Charlotte. Waltrip had a tremendous weekend at Charlotte, North Carolina, winning the Winston race. There's Bill Parsons in, and that penalty time on him.
That's the stop-and-go penalty he'll have to take. Ken looking very strong here in the early going as the car 15 as Bill Parsons comes in, makes that stop-and-go situation. Is Ricky Rudd in that car 15. He's had 8 top 5 finishes so far this year, none in victory lane, but he is very strong here in the early going.
Car number 9, Elliott leading by 4 car lengths, about 175 miles an hour, down into turn number 3, up on that banking. Big, easy, looping turn, this 3 and 4, a D-shaped track, and the oval part of the D is the E straightaway in front of this grandstand, and the straight part of the D is that back stretch. There you see the leaders. Blazing down into the first turn. Now that's the Cooper car. That's a Michigan car on pit road, making his first Grand National appearance and having problems.
Has to be disappointing in your very first race, then to have to stop this early.
Turn number 2 as he tries to move up and is not able to contain Darrell Waltrip. The 4th position, about 10 car lengths back, lies Harry Gant, who has had 5 straight second-place finishes in that number 33. There you see Gant, laying maybe 10 car lengths back. Just waiting.
He's still close enough to feel the effect of the draft of those 3 cars in front of him. In fact, it looks like he might be creeping up on him just a little.
29-year-old Bill Elliott. What a remarkable story. This young man from Dawsonville, Georgia, and his family, all working together, and his friends and neighbors are putting together the most devastating team in Winston Cup Grand National Racing. There's Waltrip moving in, Rudd going to the inside. There you see Rudd down low, trying to sweep through out of turn number 2 and not able to do so, as those onboard cameras give you these dramatic pictures. Now here's Terry Labonte, who seems to be slowing down a little bit.
Yes, he does. He started on the outside pole, of course, and he has dropped to 11th position, so something is not right. It's possibly the handling of the car. They just missed the setup.
Labonte, who's won 1 Grand National race this year at Riverside, California. You're with him once again. He scoots around the corner, and there you see him. And on the outside, Richard Petty making a move. Right in front of him, Kyle Petty. And I think that's Dave Marcus right behind him.
We are seeing more this year, perhaps, than in the past. Kyle and Richard Petty battling on the racetrack for position. Now that Kyle has the first-class ride with the Wood brothers of Stewart, Virginia.
Take a look at Ricky Rudd down on the inside, stacking them up as they go down the back straightaway. Ricky Rudd trying to make his move and win here this Michigan International Speedway, 400 miles. Mid-mark of the 1985 $10 million Grand National season. Waltrip dives inside, takes a lower line, sucks some air up into that Chevrolet, then ducks back in behind the Ford Thunderbird.
Again, all 3 of these drivers are in the top 5 in the point standings going into this race. If they lead a lap, they get 5 bonus points for doing that, so any of them would like to do that. Of course, Elliott has already racked up those 5 points.
Again, it's a cool, gray day here in the Irish hills of Michigan. Rain all day yesterday. Not any kind of opportunity to try this track out. Low crew. Look at the number 15, the Ford, of Ricky Rudd, trying to work the bottom of the racetrack as he slammed that car. Now he takes it to the high side.
He is using up the racetrack, isn't he?
Here comes Waltrip, nosing up, pulling alongside Bill Elliott, Chevrolet against Ford. And as they slam down into turn number 3, Waltrip goes out in front. Elliott back to second. Rudd is there.
That move by Ricky Rudd helped Waltrip to get the momentum he needed to slip right past him. Elliott now again has caught up to them on the inside as he moves right back up on Waltrip. He's going to try to take the lead.
Elliott trying to take the lead back right here. You're riding with him at 165, 70 miles per hour into turn number 1, and Elliott goes back in front. But for 1 lap, Waltrip was in front. He picked up those 5 points. Let's go quickly to Chris Economaki.
I'm standing down here in Terry Labonte's pit. Crew Chief Dale Edmond says the car's on 7 cylinders. They don't know why, but they're leaving him out for the moment. Perhaps it'll come back to 8. Back to you, Ken.
4 cars now in the lead draft. As the Bandit, Harry Gant, number 33, pulls up. Will this be the day when he breaks that second place scheme 5 in a row? He just keeps rolling up. but doesn't win them then.
He, Richard Petty, and Darrell Waltrip share that record of having 4 second places in a row. He's trying to break that record and go 5 in a row. Petty did his back in 1963. Waltrip did his in 1983. And in each case, when they broke their 4 second place streak, each of them won the race.
Look at Gant all the way in the bottom of the track. The Hal Needham Burt Reynolds car number 33 is way down at the bottom of the racetrack trying to move through. Gant going up into third spot. We have another car slowly coming down on the pit road. I believe that's the number 98
Maurice
car.
Randall.
The 5th place car overall of the race is now Dale Earnhardt. 6th is Bodine. 7th is Allison. 8th is Richmond. Running to the 9th position is Neil Bonnet. 10th is Bouchard. 11th is Richard Petty. Here come the front four. The story is all here. Waltrip going to the lead another time. Dead even at the lot. They have now completed 14 laps. 14 are complete. And look at this battle. As you look over Bill Elliott's shoulders, he goes to work in turn number 1. Just gently moving that car into that first turn. And look at that number 11 slide just a bit.
Elliott is so smooth, but there's a lot of work to be done inside of that car.
Harry Gant down to the inside. Gant makes his move. Here comes Gant for first place. He's challenging Waltrip, and you're watching this duel, 33 and 11 side by side, and from right behind them, you're looking at Bill Elliott, looking over their shoulder. There goes Gant for first place. A little squirrely as he comes up toward turn, and he is sideways. He's trying to get it back. He's still loose. Everybody taking evasive action. What a moment. And Elliott goes back and Red comes up on the outside for second place. Oh, my heart.
Piece of driving. It's unbelievable that he straightened that car out. That is, his short track, dirt track experience that he has, again, had to help him in that situation.
Hal Needham, the owner of that car, is just off to the right of us here with a headset on talking to crew chief Travis Carter, and I thought he was going to fall off the roof. Let's take a replay look from the in-car camera, Ned, at just what happened up here.
It looked like that he might have touched the bumper of Darrell Waltrip as he came off of that turn. He slid up in front of him, and he did. He clipped him just a little bit at that point, got Waltrip a little bit sideways. He was able to get his back under control a little quicker, but Gant, you can see, well, Waltrip slides out a little bit again as Elliott goes on the inside. Gant's on the high side and really working that steering wheel to get her back in a straight line.
All of that happening in our live coverage at 160 miles per hour. Now, for a special report, we go to Dan Rather at CBS News headquarters in New York. It's an incredible battle here at the Michigan International Speedway. You see Ricky Rudd trying for first place here as they continue to change the standings. Ricky Rudd is now battling Darrell Waltrip side by side. Harry Gant is down on the bottom. On the outside is Bill Elliott. And the war will continue all afternoon as we bring it to you live on CBS. Stand by for the Michigan 400.
Earnhardt's up there now.
Oh, my gosh.
I tell you, this is going to be interesting.
Ooh, Earnhardt almost got taken. What do we do when we come back, guys? 6 cars in the lead. We want to go to the pits. Anything you want to do now?
That's the kind of racing that we are accustomed to seeing here at Michigan. Hey, I think the story's right there on the screen.
Okay, we'll stay right there.
Gant was, Earnhardt was 3.6 seconds behind in this car. 6 laps.
circuit here at the Michigan International Speedway, and seemingly the strongest car right now is the yellow and blue car of Dale Earnhardt. Second place finisher here a year ago. In 5 laps, he's made up 3 and 6/10 seconds, and he's now challenging Darrell Waltrip, number 11, for the lead. There are 21 of 200 laps complete. Now you're inside Elliott's car, and as you see, he's dropped back a bit. He's now running in that 5th position. There's the number 3 of Earnhardt, second here a year ago, and trying to close the ground of those leaders.
He and Jeff Bodine hooked up in a draft together. They were, as you said, about 3.5 seconds behind, but they caught him very quickly. It's amazing at the different lines they take you in as they go into the corner. There's Gant going down to the inside while Bodine and Earnhardt are way up on the outside of the track. But that's the characteristic of this racetrack. One reason that drivers like it so well is that they have so much room to race.
You can see those creases in the track that have been resurfaced. They have been patched. And Andretti was the one who did the testing here and said that he thought the track was dramatically different. Yesterday, the period was so short. An hour and a half, these cars were out on the track, down with Bobby Allison closing on Kyle Petty, but no one really got a reading on what this track was all about. They were setting up for qualifying, which they never got around to do. Now there's Kyle Petty, who's having his best year with the Wood brothers in that car, Ford Thunderbird, coming down through the 4th turn area back to the start line again, and Bobby Allison, who's had a couple of 3rd-place finishes recently, seems to be getting his act back together. Here's Allison closing on Kyle Petty in car number 7. That is the battle for 11th place. Kyle fights him off another time. Allison's last win in the World 600 at Charlotte a year ago.
Amazingly, Waltrip is beginning to build up a little bit of a lead. And he's pulled away and has broken the draft from the 5 cars behind him.
It's about a 20-car length advantage. Here's Bobby Allison fighting with Richard Petty. That's the battle for 11th. Petty down on the inside. The grand champion, 200 victories. Richard Petty out of Level Cross, North Carolina. And the leader of the Alabama gang, Bobby Allison, wheel to wheel, side by side. Here they are, just dancing those cars off turn number 4.
He's got to think, well, boy, I'm just surrounded with Petty's here. He had Kyle in front of him a moment ago, and here comes Richard on the inside.
And there they are. Everywhere you look, that Petty's there. Kyle down to the bottom, out back in that pack, and here he comes right up through. Going under his dad, still looking for his first win in Grand National Racing.
He said, hey, Dad, I found the short way around this place. Here we go.
That battle takes in everyone from 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th position. Ron Bouchard in 47. That team's been changing personnel, having some problems of recent. Let's hope that the Meany team has a good day today.
He has been running very strong. He hasn't finished the last 6 races, Ken, but he has now moved from 22nd to 9th position, so he is on the move.
Waltrip has taken out a 1.09-second lead the last time by the line. Waltrip lapping the leading rookie Ken Slater out of Missouri as he goes into the backstretch looking for his 2nd win of the season and 65th on his career.
Averaging 159.6 miles an hour. That's pretty swift in competition. Of course, Waltrip, now that he is lapping the field, is able to pick up the draft on some of those cars, and that helps him to at least maintain the lead that he has. It doesn't look like he's pulling away too much from what he was a few moments ago.
Well, it was the 2nd the last time. They're going to check him again. Earnhardt is in 2nd. Bodine is in 3rd. Rudd is in 4th. Elliott is 5th. Gant is in 6th. And it's 1.5 seconds now. So Waltrip is gathering a little ground.
And one thing that's helping to do that is that side-by-side racing that we have going on for 2nd place right there. When they're doing that, that's slowing them down, allowing Waltrip to pull away. He looks in his rearview mirror and says, keep it up, fellas. I'm going right away from here.
26 laps complete. With Ned Jarrett, I'm Ken Squire, topside. Mike Joy and Chris Economaki on pit road, bringing you the Michigan 400 midway point in the $10 million NASCAR Grand National season. From here, they move on to Daytona Beach, Florida for the 4th of July. And you're watching Earnhardt here in 2nd place. Right behind him comes Bodine and pell-mell. They scream down across the start-finish line. Now you're back with Terry Labonte closing up on Harry Gant. Gant in the number 33 car. That is Bill Elliott's car that you're inside of. That is the 6th place car. Here's Gant pulling up around Ricky Rudd.
Ken, at the beginning of the race, there was a lot of concern that we have the chassis set up right for this cool day and for the competition. From here to the end of their first run, which they can go about 90 to 100 miles on a tank of fuel, this is when it gets critical, when they really get those tires heated up, and it tells the tale as far as how well their chassis is working.
We'll return to the Michigan International Speedway for more live coverage after this message and a word from your local stations.
Pull them right at 1.5.
Records up 20 lap. I think they're 20 lap increments here. Old records.
Okay, Cale has come back to 19th after starting 27th and making a pit stop, so he's got to be fine. We might want to pay a little attention to him.
Yeah. Did Bob Stenner? Ned is making the point that Cale's come back up to about 19th, and we might want to get back on and take a look at Lovely. Okay. Yeah, let's wait till he gets near a car. When he gets... Okay.
Somebody put a clock on him. Walter down. Practically.
Michigan International Speedway, 31 laps are complete. Darrell Waltrip, who has won some $3,150,000 in Grand National Racing, is in front, but Dale Earnhardt has closed up and is ready to challenge for the lead.
Kenny didn't take him long to wipe out that 1.5 second deficit. It's not going to take him long to take the lead.
Dale Earnhardt going for win number 3 this year, goes out in front. Earnhardt takes the lead. Let's go to Mike Joy on pit road.
I'm with Travis Carter, Harry Gant's crew chief. After he got a little sideways, he faded to the back of the draft, and now he's marching back up again. Is the car okay?
Well, Mike, he hasn't said anything since then. Evidently, everything's okay. The reason he fell back, everybody got in the draft, and he kind of got caught on the inside behind the slow car going in the corner and forced him back. And I think he's in pretty good shape right now.
As good as you're running, do you feel you guessed right on the setup with as little practice as you had?
Well, early on, he said it pushed a little too much, but then I think as the tires wore and got a little hotter, and the track got, you know, the little rubber on the track, it loosened up, so I think everything's going to be pretty good. We'll probably have to make some adjustments later on.
Let's go down pit road to Chris Economaki.
I'm here with Stevie Waltrip, Darrell's wife. Darrell looked pretty racy this morning. He's out there in front. What do you have for breakfast?
His usual pancakes.
What kind of mood was he in today?
He was real hopeful about winning the race. He feels real good and real comfortable with the car, and feels like the car is handling real well, and the engine's real strong, so we might have a chance.
Okay, Darrell Waltrip, after a breakfast of pancakes in second place right now. Back to you, Ken.
Lead car remains number 3. Earnhardt in front, averaging 158.474 miles per hour. Old record. David Pearson, 1973 at 153.485. There were no cautions in that race, Ned, and thus far this race has been yellow-free.
Moving up through the pack after that stop-and-go penalty, Ken, is Cale Yarborough. He's now moved up to the 19th position after starting 27th.
66 Bill Parsons running very slowly. Bottom of the Jackson car. They're the leaders. Waltrip in second, the red and white car. Dale Earnhardt out in front of the Richard Childress blue and yellow colors.
Here is Parsons coming apparently into the pit area. He was was another one of those drivers that jumped the starting flag at the beginning of the race and had a stop-and-go penalty. And another car coming down pit road is the rookie contender, Kenny Schrader, coming in right behind him.
On the Speedway, the top cars line up like this now. Earnhardt, Waltrip, Gant third, Rudd now fourth, Bodine in fifth, Elliott is sixth, Richmond is seventh, Neil Bonnet is eighth. In the ninth position is Bobby Allison, and right behind him is Richard Petty. There you are. In the ninth position, there's Richard Petty. In 10th, and in 11th, number 47, Ron Bouchard, right behind him. As we bring you the battle further back in the field, you are riding with Bobby Allison. And Richard Petty is there. Car number 90, they say, is going back behind the wall. Ken Schrader's car being pushed back. And the leading rookie, the Missouri driver, who was the king of sprint car racing so much of America last year, is going to have a short afternoon today. Leaders, Earnhardt in front. Waltrip lies second, some 4 car lengths back. Ricky Rudd trying to close and make ground. More from Michigan after these messages. Michigan 400. Earnhardt is a leader with 39 laps now complete. Darrell Waltrip was followed into second place as they lap Jim Hull, number 23. Here's Waltrip trying to move up. Cale Yarborough running in 17th position now. Remember, he was brought in for a penalty early in the race for jumping the flag. His last win is at Pocono, and he is moving up, coming through the field. There he is closing on Terry Labonte, who has fallen back from second place, Ned.
Yes, he has, and apparently that cylinder that they lost is really taking its toll on his speed right now, because he is back to the 16th position.
And closing rapidly. Cale Yarborough trying to take another spot and bring that field. Cale looking, he's using a rear steer car for the first time in the modern period. They used to use it a lot in the old days, but they switched over to rear steer, and it's the first time they brought it to Michigan, and they haven't had a chance to sort it out. Waddell Wilson was very concerned.
And, of course, they didn't get the practice they needed yesterday to sort that out. And the difference in a rear steer and a front steer car is the steering mechanism, the tie rods and everything is in front of the A-frames on a front steer car, and the steering box is behind that on a rear steer car. And there's quite a difference in the concept of them, and you have a mixture of the cars in the race. I would say there's about 50-50.
There he goes. Cale Yarborough scooting by in the Rainier Lundy, number 28, and picking up a spot. Cale has run 7 races this year, and he's only finished 2 of them. Hoping to make amends in this one and give the Rainier Lundy folks something to really cheer about. Here he is closing on Lake Speed in the number 75 car.
Labonte will try to pick up his draft. If he indeed is running on 7 cylinders, he needs all the help that he can possibly get. And if he can stay with those 2 cars, that will help him.
Now there's Cale knocking down another car. He takes Lake Speed, the Mississippi driver. Gave us a great race at Daytona back in February. Here's Terry Labonte trying to close in on him. Once again with the leaders. Dale Earnhardt maintaining that front-running position, averaging 158.242 miles per hour through the first 40 laps. They are now working to 43rd. There have been no cautions today in this race. Saw just a smidgen of smoke coming out of the back of number 11 as he rolled into turn number 1. Getting down toward pit stop time here, Ned.
Won't be too long, Ken. They should go somewhere in the 45 to 48 lap range, so we aren't too many laps from that. They just left David Pearson not too long ago. Of course, Pearson has a good winning record on this racetrack when he was driving for the Wood Brothers several years ago, but apparently not hitting the setup on the Haas Elliott car today, so he's already 1 lap down.
The 4-time winner of this race. The 3rd spot is Ricky Rudd, 4th is Gant, 5th is Elliott. Elliott lies 5th on the field now.
Last August, the second race of the year here in Michigan, they ran the entire race without a caution, and Darrell Waltrip won.
So we're closing in on 44 laps complete of the 200 round this afternoon in our live flag-to-flag coverage on CBS from Michigan.
Good thinking.
Yeah, sure. Ricky Rudd is in.
No surprise.
88 miles.
Say again, please, Bob.
70 on pit road. Oh, he missed his pit. He had to go on the 15.
Say again. I'm sorry. I'm getting... Yeah, sure. Great. He'll be coming in next time by.
He missed his pits. He came in, missed his pits. We need to make a point of that. Close than half a lap. Yeah.
Benny Bob's running good. Here he comes. Let's try him again.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to. That's just for... Okay. Anything else?
Kyle in.
Beg your pardon?
7 is in. Earnhardt has led the last 14 laps. Last 14.
Yeah, you'll get Waltrip and Earnhardt in.
Go a lap down. Here we come by.
Here's Jeff Bodine slowing to come on pit road. Ricky Rudd has missed his pits the first time in, had to go all the way around the track and gone a lap down, something to miss on Jeff Bodine's car. Next Sunday, live, we'll be with you from Detroit for the Detroit Grand Prix, 4th annual, right here on CBS, live coverage of World Championship Formula One racing. Alan Jones, the great world champion from Australia, will join us along with David Hobbs, who just raced to 4th place at Le Mans today. Live flag-to-flag coverage next Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Pacific on CBS Sports at the Detroit Grand Prix.
Kim, it's scheduled pit stops now coming up, but Bodine came in awfully slow. Whether he was out of gas or what the situation is, we don't know. You mentioned that Ricky Rudd missed his pits on the first time in. He lost about a half a lap on that, had to go all the way around the racetrack, come back in again. So he has gone a lap down, but the other leaders will be coming in here very shortly. A pretty good pit stop for Bodine, 16 and 8,500 seconds as he gets a tank of fuel and 2 right side tires, and most of them will be doing that during this first pit stop.
Working the 48th lap, and let's see if Earnhardt is going to pit. The leader may be coming on pit road right now, and as he does, number 11, Waltrip, is going to go back in front. Waltrip will once again be promoted to first place as car number 3, Earnhardt, dives into the pits.
And there's caution on the racetrack as he comes in.
There is caution on the track. Car number 85 may have unhinged an engine out here, which has brought out the yellow. Tom Crozier out of Roanoke, Virginia. Let's go to Economacky.
It is in under yellow flag conditions, and it's a very calm and collected pit stop. Fuel and right side tires. He's been at 13 and 14.22 seconds, and he's back on the track. He got a tremendous break. He came in just as the yellow flag waved, so he didn't lose really much at all as he goes back on the track. Jeff Bodine, who came in a bit earlier, had to have a chassis adjustment. Now down pit road, Mike Joy.
Chris, they're ready to pit Bill Elliott. They've got a couple of wrenches here to adjust the handling, and since they've gone so far on fuel, could be gas as well. They keep starting fluid and stored inside the engine compartment in case they needed to refire it. Bernie is here with the pit board, waiting for Bill, and here he comes down pit road. Butch Stevens here with the jack. Bernie's already out with the board. Right side tire changer is there. Here goes the gas, 22 gallons and 2 cans. Back upstairs.
Darrell Waltrip has been at number 11. The lead car is in. All the leaders taking this opportunity under caution. Bobby Allison, Richard Petty now coming in. Bouchard, Harry Gann in and out very quickly. Neil Bonnet up for right side rubber, and Bill Elliott brings out the number 9 car. There's Waltrip away.
This caution came at a very opportune time for those that had not stopped in. For some of those that had stopped, it was an inopportune time for them. Now, one thing that has happened as far as Ricky Rudd is concerned, he came back in, he was a lap down, but he changed left side tires. Now, under the rule, the tire rule that NASCAR has in effect. If they change more than 2 tires during a caution period, any one caution period, they lose a lap. So he now has on 4 fresh tires where the others will only have on 2 right side fresh tires. That could give him an advantage when the green flies again.
There's Cale Yarborough in and out another time.
Cale was about 10 seconds from going a lap down, so the caution came at a good time for him. Apparently, he was out of gas. He's having trouble getting the car fired as the pit crew pushes him down pit road. Now he has it fired. Boy, it's a good feeling to have that engine finally rev up after stalling like that.
That penalty is 1 lap on the supers, and it's 2 laps on the shorter tracks.
2 laps on the short track, so they have to be very careful. Of course, the rule was designed to help the team save money, not use as many tires.
But a lot of drivers are very critical.
Yes, they are. Some of them are very critical about it. They're not sure that it is accomplishing what they set out to do. We saw Bodine's car in the pit there just a moment ago. Now let's go to Mike Joy with Ernie Elliott.
They just fueled Bill Elliott's car, and they're taking a look at the lap chart. Ernie, he slowed about 1.3 seconds from the start of the race until just...
Sanctioned by NASCAR. We'll have, coming down the line, car number 33, Harry Gant, on the outside, number 11, Waltrip is right there, then Dale Earnhardt, Bill Elliott, Tim Richmond, the front 5, as they streak under the flags of Harold Kinder. And a black flag was being shown to someone on the start. I think it might have been Phil Parsons again.
64 and 21. That's David Pearson and Clark Flower in the car number 64.
There you see the field. Out for the first and second turn. With a very gentle banking into this back straightaway and coming to full song for the first time. On the restart, Harry Gant had the point.
Well, there's Benny Parsons out front, but he had made a pit stop under the green. Apparently has gone a lap down, so he's now back in the lead lap, hoping to stay there, and Ricky Rudd trying to get back to the lead.
There's your car net. Ricky Rudd is right back there with those 4 tires on. Let's see what he can do with Harry Gant on the 33.
Those that have not made the pit stop only took on the right side tires during the green flag. And here's Rudd up on the outside. That car looks to be working. And here's Kyle Petty coming down on the inside in the car number 7. But Gant very strong in the car number 33.
Looks just like the 59th Street Bridge about 4:30 in the afternoon. Back straightaway. Car number 33, Gant out in front. Trying to pull it off. Now he's won 1 race this year at Martinsville, Virginia on the half mile. There you see Kyle Petty's car. And those cars down to the bottom. Over a lap of the leaders. On the outside, Ricky Rudd in the red and white number 15 is the second place car, but hold the phone. Here comes Tim Richmond down low. The maroon number 27 of Tim Richmond has come up into second place, and he's taking a shot at it now. Richmond has not had a very good year, and he's trying to make it a whole lot better right now. There you see this immense crowd on a very gray, cool day at Michigan who've gathered to watch the first Grand National race of this year on this beautiful facility. Ricky Rudd going to the lead. Harry Gant at 33 for the moment seems to stem the tide. Mike Joy is with Travis Carter. Let's go there now.
Harry Gant was probably the only car to take on left side tires. Travis, why'd you change lefts instead of rights?
Well, Mike, for this particular combination of tire in the past, especially at Charlotte, we've seen that the left sides did more for the car. And I think possibly Hal Needham told me from up top that Darrell is the other car that changed left side. So we'll see what that makes us happen.
What Travis referring to, they have an eye in the sky up on top of the tower that can spot what's going on pit road and help Travis. That's where a good crew chief can make a call like that and get your car out front.
Several teams have done that. They put out scouts on the top of the stands this year. Now Gant is really drawing away. Waltrip has been in second, but meandering by comes Ricky Rudd. Rudd pulls up into the second spot. Waltrip remanded to third. Elliott lies fourth. Richmond is in fifth. And here comes Earnhardt from sixth, trying to work on the outside. There you see the second place battle, and there you see Earnhardt working on the outside around Tim Richmond, around Bodine, and running inches off the fence as he slithers that car right up as much as he can to clear another couple of automobiles.
He doesn't have to worry about traffic up there. He's running up there where nobody else has dared to run so far. Look how close he gets to that wall, but it's working for him.
57 laps are now complete. Dale Earnhardt, the yellow and blue car on the outside. Here's David Pearson, four-time winner of this event on pit road.
That was a stop-and-go penalty for jumping the flag on the restart.
There you see Harry Gant in front, and you got a little idea about the interval back to the second place car, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, all rambling down, seventh, eighth, and ninth as well. into turn number 3.
And look who's beginning to move up through there now. The number 9 of Bill Elliott, after that little adjustment that they made on his forward. It got him on the go, but can he run Gant down?
Well, there you see Gant as you looked out the front window of Bill Elliott's car. The Harry Melling team has really come together this year. Harry Melling, who lives here in Jackson, Michigan, and several years ago, Benny Parsons came to him and said, there's a young guy in Dawsonville, Georgia, who has the makings of being a great champion, and he needs a little money. And for $500, Harry Melling bought into this team. He's put a few shekel cents into the organization, but for $500, they made the combination. And Harry Melling was most impressed because after one race of sponsorship, Harry went to the next race, and his name and his insignia was still on the car. Gladius. And he said, those guys have got some class, and he's been with them ever since. This year they've won $570,000, and they're right on top. They're the number 1 team on the Winston Cup Tour. Now there's Harry Gant, number 33, trying to get off this second place saddle he's been on. 5 straight second positions. Remember when he started out, before he won his first race, he became famous for second place finishes. Didn't want any more of that, although he said the other day, if he could get another 10 straight second finishes, he'd be happy. He knows at that time he would have won the national championship, because that's the kind of consistency for the competition we see here that is out of the question.
That second place is better than third and on back, no question about it. So he's not too unhappy with that. And when we say 5, in one of those came in the special race for the 12 winners of last year's race. It won't go into the record book as one of the second places, but it was a major event for him, and it has been 5 in a row.
I would think with the money they pay, they might want to reconsider and put that race in the record book. $500,000 race, $500,000, $200,000, that was some event. 158.9 miles per hour is the mark on the last lap for Harry Gant, number 33. We will return to the Michigan International Speedway for more live coverage of the Michigan 400 after this word from your local station. Here we Gant team of Hal Needham and Burt Reynolds is out in front. Travis Carter, crew chief, and here you see the battle in second place. Now back to the leader another time, and there's the interval between first and second position. Second is highly contested. At number 15 is being shown a lap down. The battle for second is 11 and 9. There's Gant. Boy, is he drawing a bead on first place.
Those left side tires, as opposed to the right side that almost everyone else took on, seems to really be working for it. And on a track like this, left side tires are very important.
Cale Yarborough on pit road, the 6-time winner of the race, having his problems today. Made up some time, got back into it again.
Definitely an unscheduled pit stop for him, Ken. It hasn't been that long since they were in here, so he rolls in with Waddell Wilson and the crew. It looks like they're going to the right side, so apparently he had a tire going down. They'll try to get him back out and keep him in the lead lap. But for the second time today, he's had a penalty, so to speak. The first penalty came when he jumped the flag on the start of the race. They have the tires changed, but now they're coming around to change the left side. So I'll say that he had a tire to equalize, set up a vibration, not knowing which tire it was. They're changing all 4, so they will go a lap down now.
81 wins for Cale Yarborough, but this year only a 7th and a 3rd up among the top 10. Real problems for him as he comes back on the track. Cale Yarborough going a lap down. Remaining in front, car number 33, Harry Gant, stays in front, and he continues to draw away. Second spot being contested between Darrell Waltrip and Bill Elliott. There's your leader, number 33, the Gant car. There's that second place scramble. Waltrip is there. The 11 car is second place. Ricky Rudd is a lap down, and right behind him comes the third place car of Bill Elliott. Now for a special report, we go to Dan Rather at CBS News headquarters in New York. For the race.
It really is, especially when they did not get very much practice yesterday. But we also have to take into consideration these guys are professional drivers, and they're professional people setting the cars up. They've been here before. They've set the race cars up. They have records of what they've done in the past, and so they would go basically by that in the tire compounds that they're using this year. There's a lot of things you have to take into consideration. Of course, it has become so technical now that when they're setting a car up on the race day, they have to change the jetting in the engine to accommodate the temperature on that particular day. So they knew what it was. We've had the sun in and out here a little bit, but I doubt the temperature has risen that much, so apparently not affecting the air intake into the cars that much.
By over 4 seconds, Harry Gant, who's won some $2,200,000 in Grand National Racing, leads number 11, Waltrip, in second. Here's a story on Cale Yarborough from Chris Economaki.
Okay, this car tire, the left rear tire, had a cut, as you can see here by the bubbling. But the crew and Cale didn't know which tire was flat, so they had to change all 4 to make sure they got the flat one. You can see it doesn't look flat. The inner liner keeps it up. But there's the cut across Cale Yarborough, a lap on the track. Back to you, Ken.
And there you see him running with Jeff Bodine, who is also a lap down, as is Ricky Rudd, among the strong contenders here. What a bad break for Harry Hyde and the Rick Hendrick car, number 5, who had real high hopes of stemming the tide of Bill Elliott. But now the man they have to beat is this man, Harry Gant, longtime veteran of American short track racing. Name a quarter mile or a third mile anywhere in the eastern United States, and at one time or another, he set his wheels on it.
I think I perhaps had the opportunity to see Harry Gant drive the first race that he ever drove at Hickory, North Carolina, on a third of a mile dirt track, and it was obvious right from the beginning that the man had a lot of talent.
Used to work as a carpenter. He doesn't do that anymore. Here he is, leading by some 4 seconds. 7 Winston Cup victories to his credit. Looking for number 8. Looking pretty hard to beat right now, but it's still early going. 70 laps of the 200 have been completed. Only 70. We get up toward the halfway mark today. Darrell Waltrip continues to sustain in second position as he fights with Bill Elliott and Dale Earnhardt. There you see that battle. Earlier we asked Darrell Waltrip, what does it take to win on this wide 2-mile racetrack?
And this racetrack is one that I have to say to myself, slow down and go faster. And that's sort of what you have to do here. You got to get in the corner a lot easier than you think you need to, but you got to really come off the corners well here. So get in easy and try to get in the throttle and come off really hard.
We've got a car spinning in turn number 4. Bobby Hillin lands on the bottom of Pit Road, right at the entrance to Pit Road. Bobby Hillin Jr., 21 years old, out of Texas, has spun the Stavola Brothers car and brought it to a halt. There is a caution on the track. Second caution of the day is for car number 8. He was not in contact with any of the retaining walls. Bobby Hillin, number 8, brings out the second caution of the day. You can see a tire mark. They're racing to the flag. Gant well out in front. The rest of them have to come around.
Oh, and he gets tagged as he started into the pit. Harry Gant getting tagged by the car number 23 as he started into the pit.
Bobby Wowak has spun down through the grass. He is still spinning. And Harry Gant has been knocked out. Gant, his chances today by a rookie in his first race, Jim Hall, in number 23. Hall making his first appearance driving the Bob Bear car. This guy has almost no experience, and I think there was a big question about whether or not he should even start the race.
Certainly on a track where they run as fast as they do here, Ken, Gant is sort of stuck in the mud down there. He's trying to get his car to go. That was one concern they had. Said, hey, we got to keep it on the pavement because the rain all day yesterday, most of the night last night, has left it very muddy down there. You can see the left rear wheel spinning. Of course, the right rear wheel is spinning too, but he's running the very worst part, the lowest part of the track there where the water, you can see the mud there, and Gant just simply can't get his car to go.
Let's take a look at what happened here. There's Bobby Hillin, the number 8 car, lined up there at the top of Pit Road, and let's see what happened here.
It looked like
Caution is out.
that Gant was going to try to come into the pit. Now here's Bobby Hillin spinning. This is what brought the caution out to begin with. Bobby Hillin spun coming off of turn 4. As we can see, he didn't hit anything. He slid through a little mud, right at the pit entrance, and set crossways.
And then this happened.
Harry Gant had a pretty good lead as he came off the turn. And as they do in many cases, he was going to try to get down on the inside. Of course, Hull didn't realize what he was trying to do. He was trying to get down the low side of the track out of his way, and they tagged. Hull goes to the outside. Gant spins to the inside. There's Bobby Wowak clipping Hull. As he comes by, Wowak spins down into the grass as well. And Gant.
Let's look at it from inside Bill Elliott's car, Ned.
Boy, what a unique situation to have happen to you. Here's Elliott as he comes in on the smoke. Pretty difficult to see. That's what the drivers are seeing as they come off of the turn. Of course, the 23 car sitting on the outside. Elliott was able to see him and maneuver around. As we look back to see the other cars, and Gant still stuck in the mud. And Hal Needham out here just outside of our broadcast booth, of course, the man who has been clocking Gant and advising the pit crew as to what should be done. You can see Gant trying to unhook the safety net, which is pretty hard for the driver to do from the inside. Now the wrecker has come out to moving. Apparently that car can still go if he can just get it out of the mud.
Heavy rains yesterday, almost no practice. We had several drivers out here making their first appearance on a super speedway that hadn't had any opportunity really and got in just a few laps. Then all the qualifying was washed out yesterday. They lined up on owner points and postmarked entries. And Harry Gant, who was leading by 4 seconds, getting tagged by car number 23. That car is entered by Dick Bear. Bob Bear, his brother, put a lot of money in that team some time ago, and a lot of Dick's money, and they've had several different drivers.
Gant finally gets to going.
Here comes Harry Gant back on the track. Now a lap or 2 down in the Michigan 400. Nobody's going to take a shot at that after this lengthy caution period. Bobby Hillen's car is coming out, and you see Rusty Wallace's machine right behind it. Car number 2, Cliff Stewart's car, Rusty Wallace. They still say there's some metal on the track up here in the turn 4 area. A bunch of metal they're reporting in turn 4. They're trying to clean that up. You can see the crews out there just at the entrance to pit road, still administering to this track. As they come by, we'll be up to the 80-lap mark, and Tim Richmond is out in front. Tim Richmond, car number 27.
Well, I know the front end's off a little bit on it, Mike. The biggest problem, he could probably run pretty good, but we've wound up with 3 laps down with all this that's happened.
I saw the look on your face when Harry went spinning through the grass. Did he have anything you could repeat that he said over the radio?
Well, he didn't say anything originally because we were trying to get the car going again, but he said he passed the boy down the backstretch, and then when he slowed down to come in the pit, the boy tried to pass it back, and then he realized Harry was trying to make a pit stop, so I guess he was just lost.
Travis Carter.
1 lap away from a restart. 1 lap away from a restart. Let's see if we can talk to Bobby Allison. Bobby, how's it going out there today? Ken Squire at CBS.
Well, I'm kind of in that second group, and we run pretty good, but we had a little problem getting exactly where we need to be on the racetrack. Not too bad.
How is the racetrack today, Bobby? Bobby, how is the racetrack today?
Okay, I missed the question.
Bobby, how is that racetrack with the cracks filled up out there? Is it better than it used to be?
Okay, we're all jockeying for a position here on the restart, so I can't, with the other noise, I cannot hear you.
We won't bother you now. Thank you very much, Bobby Allison.
And you could see that
national champion.
That jockeying he was talking about, Ken. Of course, the cars that are at least a lap down, we saw Gant go up in through there. They can go up on the inside of the cars that are not a lap down are starting on the outside on the restart. Here's Gant coming up on the inside of Bobby Allison there right now. Jeff Bodine right in front of him.
Now
he's a lap down. Of course, that's permissible.
Now, the situation is that we have Tim Richmond and Neil Bonnet in the first and second positions as we come down to the wire to get this one going another time. Dale Earnhardt in third, Waltrip in fourth, Bill Elliott in fifth, Bobby Allison sixth, Kelly Yarborough seventh, Dave Marcus is eighth on the restart. And how many cars do we agree on the lead left?
It's still a pretty good bunch of them, and a good bunch of them going into that first turn. We're going to see a bad scramble, and some try to get their laps back while others try to pull away from the field.
They're showing 10 cars now in that lead lap. Something like 10 automobiles. For a moment they gave us 2, and that didn't seem like it was.
No, it really
Bosch. All right, out in front, back straightaway. Tim Richmond, number 27. We see the 15 car trying to get a lap back.
He doesn't have his lap back at the moment, and he can stay out there. Well, and a caution come out, that put him right back in the thick of it. And that car has run good all day long. The reason he's a lap behind, in case someone just joined us, is that he made a miscue on his first pit stop. He came in, missed his pit, had to go back out, came back in under green, and he got a lap down. But here's Richmond running strong from the outside.
Here they are, 4, 5 wide, coming into the main straight. is in front. Ricky Rudd in the white and red, number 15, has made up a lap. He would give anything to see a caution here and be able to motor around. From Elliott's car, you get an idea of how they take up all the space there is in turn number 1.
And look how high Earnhardt continues to run on the racetrack. Elliott apparently is going to try to follow him through that massive track that we saw in front of him.
There's Bobby Allison just in front. Harry Gantz, number 33, deployed on the inside, and they weave and dance, and they seem to be almost in slow motion as you watch them there. Benny Parsons, number 55, a lap or two down, running on the inside.
One lap down, so he's trying to get that lap back. What he has in mind now, Ken, is to try to get by Tim Richmond and hook on to Ricky Rudd up there and hopefully pull away from those cars back there. But it's working to Rudd's advantage right now that those cars are running side by side.
Neil Bonnet, who was in a terrible crash on Tuesday night up in Wisconsin, stayed second. And there you see them. 1, 2, 3. That's Richard Petty, who had been running third as they bunch him up out of turn number 2 on the bottom of the racetrack. Petty has had just a miserable year. 7th place at Dover, Delaware was about as much as he's been able to put together. He's had a lot of DNFs on the season. Here's Richard Petty that's running right up in there now, second and third. Making another shot. You see the number 12 car trying to move on to the 27 for the lead. Number 12, Neil Bonnet, down to the bottom. Back to the Triola. Richmond holding him off.
Bonnet has 2 victories already to his credit, one on the short track and one on the 1-mile track at the North Carolina Motor Speedway in Robbinsville, North Carolina, which incidentally is getting a new paving job, and that's going to please a lot of the drivers.
Out of turn 2. Bonnet, number 12. In front of Winston. Look at Bouchard move in there.
Boy, he did that very quickly, made a good move down on the inside.
And Bouchard's in the lead lap.
Jake Elder, who has been around for many, many years, is now the crew chief on the Bouchard car, and he's going for Bonnet.
Well, Suitcase Jake must have taken something really good out of that suitcase, because that 47 is looking as tough as it has looked in many a race.
But look at Walter coming up on the inside. That car seems to be working anywhere on the racetrack he wants to take it, Ken. It's tough to get one working down on the inside so you can move right around as he did his teammate Neil Bonnet.
And Bouchard moved even lower on the track in the 47. As the handle. That's one thing about Jake Elder. He usually can find a handle on a race car.
That's the key thing that he has going for him. He does know how to set race cars up and make them work, especially on a track that has relatively low banking.
From Bobby Allison's car back in pit spot now, Gant, number 33. Remember, Gant, a couple of laps down. Gant would like to get back up into it. Tries to go underneath the Petties, running side by side. Kyle there in the 7, Richard in the 43. Look at Gant down on the inside trying to find a place to go through. And Allison motors along up through there.
He found himself a hole and went right through it.
Kyle has been shown in 15th position, a lap down. There's his father up on the outside. Bobby Allison staying with him in the back straightaway.
Now, folks, this is at over 160 miles an hour as they jockey around and find those holes and try to put a 3,700-pound automobile in them.
There you see Neil Bonnet's number 12 down to the bottom of the track. All these pictures coming to you live here on CBS. As you follow Bobby Allison, you're in the car, and that's how it looks from the grandstand as they come by. The red and white car, Bobby Allison, number 22, right behind Richard Petty. They go into that first turn. It's a dandy race. Walter, for the moment, has the advantage. For a while, it looked like Harry Gant is going to make a walkover out of this thing. News from Le Mans today. Klaus Ludwig has won the 24 Hours of Le Mans, averaging 131 miles an hour. With teammate John Winter, Palmer, Weber, and Lloyd finished second. Derek Bell and Hans Stuck motored to third. And David Hobbs, who will join us next week, finished fourth with Guy Edwards, his co-driver of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Hobbs and Edwards, fourth overall at the end of the 24 of Le Mans. Here at Michigan, live on CBS this afternoon, we're watching Darrell Waltrip at the moment, trying to hold on the lead. Nobody has been able to dominate the event. Tim Richmond had the lead momentarily on the restart, and he handed the initiative over to Waltrip. For a moment, it was Neil Bonnet there, but at this time, got to keep looking at this man, number 11, Waltrip. Harry Gant is showing a lot of power in the time. Look at Gant through if we can for a moment and take a look at Elliott back here, car number 9. You're inside Elliott's car as he tries to deal with Neil Bonnet.
He looked high, then pulled up on his back bumper, decided he'd try the low side. Now he decides, well, I'll sit here for a little bit and see which way Neil's going to go when we go into the next turn. Of course, that's all a part of drafting, trying to set a driver up as you go into a turn.
Elliott dropping down in underneath Neil Bonnet as he makes a move. Fights his way up as they battle back there in the 4th and 5th positions. We'll be back with more from the Michigan International Speedway after these messages. 1 2-lap cars right behind him. Benny Parsons is there, Ricky Rudd, and then a tremendous scramble among 9 other cars for second place. And everybody's had a shot at it. There you see Richard Petty up on the high side, Cale Yarborough. Bobby Allison's number 22, the 28 of Cale Yarborough, Tim Richmond. And also up in here comes number 47, Bouchard. He's been up as far as 3rd. Right now he's back to 9th. Let's go to his pits. Here's Mike Joy.
That's Jake Elder, Ronnie's crew chief. He's calling out the lap times every lap so Bouchard can see where he wants to run on the racetrack. Jake, he went to the front and now he's dropped back a bit. Bouchard makes a comment. He went to the front and he's dropped back a bit. Looks like you got the handle and then it goes away.
Well, we get a little high today. And I think when he gets out of that track a little bit, them guys get them low gears, just pulls him up off the corner a little bit, you know.
They're running a different rear-end gear in Bouchard's car to try to make this car last the race. They've not finished a lot lately, but almost unnoticed in the opening green flag session. Bouchard started 22nd on the field, and he climbed to 10th spot in the first 10 laps of this race. Now look at Chris Economaki.
Just about everything in stock car racing is special, from the car to the equipment and the pit. This is a fuel can, specially made, that holds 11 gallons of gas, and when it's full of fuel, it weighs 80 pounds. And here is its new little brother. This is what's put in the back of the car to catch the overflow. These cost a little under $100 to make. One of the reasons why stock car racing is such an expensive sport today. Back to you, Ken.
Expensive sport indeed, but there's $400,000 out here today, Chris, and that's what this man, Darrell Waltrip, wants the lion's share of as he continues to stay in front and tries to motor away. He's got a fair interval as they continue to race each other hard for second place. There you see the Earnhardt car on the outside, through the opera window, no less, in the back of that car as he takes a shot at Bobby Allison. Here they come, 4 laps away from halfway distance in the event. And car number 3, Earnhardt, pulls himself back to second place. Richard Petty into 3rd. Bobby Allison falling to 4th.
And how many times have we seen that battle between Richard Petty and Bobby Allison? Of course, many times it's been for the lead, but now they're both running, in fact, one of the better races that I've seen them run this year.
In the old days, they were the ones that could get the columns. They were the ones that got the print because they used to lean on each other a little.
Very heavy at times, no question about it. As we see the 1984 Grand National Champion Terry Labonte coming back into the pit, he's had his problems all day.
Labonte has pitted. Here's Waltrip out in front, seeking his 2nd win of the year, the 66th of his career. Ah, and a tech viewer here. I'm not sure if that's a Waltrip fan or not. Hard to tell. He may be a little unhappy with how this is going.
He's zeroed in on someone, that's for sure.
This is a spectacular track to view from. It's one of the steepest grandstands I know, and every seat in the house is a dandy, and they're enjoying this race. Just a great congregation out watching Waltrip for the moment leading as Earnhardt has gone to 2nd, Petty into 3rd. 2.5 laps away from mid-distance, and there's that grandstand here at Michigan International Speedway. Brooklyn, Michigan, the Irish Hills. Just a little ways north of Detroit, where we'll be next week for the World Championship Formula One cars. In the streets of Detroit. Marvelous congregation here today. Great throng turned out, and the infield looks as good as I've ever seen it here.
Almost everywhere we've been this year, they've had record crowds, Tim. This phase of auto racing is really on a roll right now, but with this kind of competition, you can see why.
And you can see that number 3, Earnhardt, is drawing a lead on number 11, trying to close the gap on the first-place car. There's Bodine back there, still struggling.
We saw Dave Marks' car in the picture there. He's having a very good run here today, considered the top so-called independent on the circuit without major sponsorship. This is his 500th start in his career.
Had a few Grand National victories to his credit, too.
Yes, he has.
Definitely moving up. Earnhardt is closing on Waltrip, coming to the halfway point. Richard Petty right on the rear bumper of Dale Earnhardt as they sailed out into turn number 1.
No one knows drafting better than Richard Petty. He's given credit draft work for him as he stays on Earnhardt coming up through the field.
The leaderboard at Michigan. Waltrip first, Earnhardt second, Petty third, Allison fourth, Richmond in fifth. She's having a great time. In sixth is Cale Yarborough. Seventh is Elliott. Eighth is Bouchard. They're coming to the halfway point this time. Halfway home as they come back to the start-finish line, this time by 8th Bouchard, 9th Marcus, 10th Neil Bonnet in this race. And at the cross flags position, it is number 11, Waltrip for first, Earnhardt for second, Richard Petty for third. Let's go back to the pit area.
Okay, I'm here with Ed Cooper, a rookie in stock car competition. Ed, how far from the track do you live?
About 7 miles.
Ed's a welding and fabricating instructor at a local vocational school. Ed, your car's out of the race with mechanical trouble, I understand. But I also understand that you had some of your students as your pit crew. Is that right?
I've got a number of my students have helped.
Somebody at Michigan Speedway, or are you really a race nut?
I've been racing 12 years now, and our goal has always been NASCAR, and this, of course, Michigan is next to home. It's a nice place to start.
What's the matter with the car?
It's been a valve.
Okay. Top teacher from close by, Clark Lake, Michigan, Ed Cooper out of the race. Back to you, Ken.
Former ASA driver, this fellow Cooper, Ned.
And this is a car that they bought from Diegard Racing, which Bobby Allison drives for.
Last lap by Darrell Waltrip, 156.862 miles per hour. But you can see closing up all the time Dale Earnhardt. We asked Cale Yarborough earlier if it's tough not winning a race this season.
Sometimes you get in a little slump, and the only way to overcome it is keep digging, and that's what we're doing. So it's a little bit hard to take, but I think we're going to overcome it, and we're going to win some races before the year's over.
Third place in Martinsville has been his best mark of the year, a 7th at Rockingham. Those other finishes have been 36 and 22nd and 30th, not the mark of a Yarborough at all. Here he is, right back in it, running right in front of Bobby Allison. There's Bill Elliott right underneath him. That's that tremendous struggle. Elliott is in the 6th position. Allison has been in 5th. Cale right there with him. From Bill Elliott's car. You look up under Bobby Allison's rear bumper. Turn 3. And now back shooting at Elliott. 5th and 6th position there. Jim Sauter's car is on pit road. Wisconsin driver pitting. Well, Waltrip continues to hold the lead, Ned, but that lead has stabilized. It's not going up or down. Earnhardt is just waiting on him now.
Since he left Ricky Rudd had moved into the lead lap, but Waltrip came up and passed him, but Rudd has been able to hang with him, and Earnhardt really hasn't been able to gain that much on him. As you see Petty right on his bumper, then Cale Yarborough back behind him. Cale said, we're going to keep on digging. Well, boy, he has kept on digging here today. Early in the race, he was flag for jumping the flag, got almost a lap behind. Then he had made an unscheduled pit stop for 4 tires, did get a lap behind, but because of the Gant incident, he was able to get back in the lead lap. Now he finds himself up in 4th place. I call that keep on digging.
Let's review this race from the outset. Bill Elliott was on the pole. No qualifying yesterday. It was rained out. Elliott dove out in front. Then he found himself coming back a little into the field. They have swapped the lead around up in front. Waltrip had an opportunity at it. Earnhardt took the lead. Then Gant pulled away to a 4-second advantage. He brought out a caution, but he was in collision with Jim Hall's car, number 23. Gant car went a couple of laps down. Tim Richmond had the lead after that, followed by Neil Bonnet. Cale Yarborough was penalized for jumping the start, had to make up a lap. He's done that, and now Cale was back into 4th position with one of his very best runs of the year. Jeff Bodine had a few problems here today. There you see Cale Yarborough's car directly in front of Bill Elliott as they continue their scramble. Here's Mike Joy.
Ken, one of the problems with the lack of practice yesterday is the teams did not get to scuff in a lot of tires. This tire's been run on the racetrack, and like a balloon, each tire expands at a different rate. So they know that once they've run this tire, they know what the diameter and circumference is going to be and how it'll work on the racetrack. This tire has not been run, and they can only guess at how much it'll expand when it goes out there. The reason stagger is so important is on the back of the race car, if you have a smaller diameter tire on the inside of the car and a larger diameter tire on the outside of the car, when that car rolls, the back end will start to turn in the corner. If you upset that stagger relationship, the handling goes all to pieces. Just another part of the guessing game.
Some of Benny Parsons' crew just waiting for their turn to go into action. Waltrip begins to build up an advantage now over second place Dale Earnhardt as Richard Petty lies third, Cale Yarborough fourth, Bill Elliott fifth, Bobby Allison in sixth, Tim Richmond is seventh, Ron Bouchard in eighth, Dave Marcus having an excellent run in ninth, and Neil Bonnet rounds out the top 10. There you see Waltrip, that familiar position, and there is Richard Petty and Cale Yarborough. A couple of the Giants going at it. They're back there in third position. There's Elliott. So you're looking at 3, 4, and 5. And from the fifth place car, Bill Elliott, Cale Yarborough just in front of him by the grandstand, completing the 107th lap for this trio of cars. Bill Elliott trying to win his 7th Grand National race of the year. He currently lies, as you look out of his car, in 5th position, and we'll follow his adventure later. Right. Grand National race in Georgia, where they know they can count on their neighbors for support and discretion.
They got country stance about them. they come from the hard knocks way back in when you just go out work under the shade tree and everything. Now they just moved right on up. Don't you think that's about what it is?
They've got their stuff together, apparently, haven't they?
Life ain't nothing but a funny, funny riddle. Thank God I'm a country boy. Yeah.
Dawsonville, Georgia, about 58 miles north of Atlanta. The mountain folk live here. They think they know Bill, Ernie, Dan, and the entire Elliott clan. And their number 9's proudest fans. Not many folks in these parts are well known. In the 30s and 40s, Grover Soseby. More recently, the late Junior Sample. I asked the mountain folk about the Elliott family and why they're so successful.
Because they're hard-working family. They seek for perfection in anything that they do. They have the attitude that any job that's worth doing, it's worth doing right.
A lot of talk in the barbershop about the racing. What kind of people are they? What kind of people are they?
Well, they're quiet, industrious, loyal.
If I were going to go somewhere in town to find out more about the Elliots, where would you send me?
I would say go to the Dawsonville Pool Room. They've really got a good layout on them up there.
Well, this team is made up of just country boys from this little town. I mean, they never worked with anybody else, so it's like a close family almost, and they know the people.
The Elliots led road a piece on the road to Amicalola Falls. Father George, brothers Bill, Dan, and Ernie, and the matriarch of the family, Mama Audie Reese.
Well, I don't guess mountain folks knows any more about it than I do. I couldn't tell you what they're doing, only work. I know I can get up any time of night, and my front window's right yonder. I can walk there and look out, and I see that light over yonder in the shop at 3 o'clock, and they're still over there at work. Now, they work. They don't just sit down and wait for somebody else to do it. And I know what I'm talking about because I see.
What Mama Reese sees is a busy garage. Visitors are to get further front off. Bill's wife, Martha, who manages the office, will graciously greet you. But signs on the shop doors warn you that the Elliott brothers tirelessly protect their geographic edge, an edge other teams don't have.
I think privacy does a whole lot for it. In as competitive a situation as we're in, you have got to be private. We've done it pretty much on our own. And coming up, we've had some help and support out of a lot of people, but yet we didn't go out and I didn't get a ride in somebody else's car to prove I could drive a race car. And you didn't go with somebody else to prove he could build an engine. And we all worked and accomplished a goal pretty much on our own.
When they start offering the big money and some of those people you hire get bought off, I would say that's when this team's in trouble.
Yeah, I'll agree. That's when any team's in trouble. It's when the money buys everybody out. I would like to think that the guys that work here are a little bit different than that. what I think's held us together better than anything is Ernie and I's relationship working together. You know, and I think that is the biggest thing, and there won't nothing, I don't believe, come between that either.
A lot of people because so well races this year and
Yeah, if they win every race the whole year through because they're not boys to cheat and deadbeat, and they're not going to. I can say that, and I truly believe it. I'd sail on a stack of Bibles.
Thank God I'm a country boy.
Bill Elliott, who is motored up to 4th position. Up to 3rd is Cale Yarborough, but there you see perhaps the Achilles heel. There's a crack developing in the windshield on car number 9, Ned.
And it could become a problem as time goes on. There's a lot of pressure on the windshield, not quite as much on that side as it would be if they were in the center of the car.
Now Richard Petty has fallen to... Bill Elliott has moved up to 4th. In 3rd is the number 28 car of Cale Yarborough. There you see now the 4th place car, and directly in front of him is Cale Yarborough, and right in front of Cale is the number 3 of Dale Earnhardt. That 2nd, 3rd, and 4th as Waltrip continues to draw a beat. Now the 28 car is making a move to take 2nd place. Cale Yarborough from a lap down earlier in this event dives low in the corner, and he's trying to hold that car down there. Meanwhile, the extra RPMs on the outside, Earnhardt trying to stay in there and watching all of this, Elliott directly behind him.
And he doesn't have the momentum that Earnhardt has coming off of the turn, so that pass didn't work. It looked good for a moment, Ken. But here comes Elliott on the outside. He's going to lose the 4th position.
Elliott's going. Bill Elliott clambering up through, going for 3rd position.
Dramatically different lines. Yarborough way down on the low side of the racetrack. Elliott running on the high side, but it looks like Yarborough's going to come out in front of this time.
His dad, George Elliott, here today, watching his son as he does at every race. There's George looking on, hoping this day will be another one for the Elliott family. George Elliott, who had cars way back when Billy Wade had a half season with G.C. Spencer. Once had Leroy Yarborough in one of his cars way back when. Saw his first races down in Atlanta, Lakewood. Ackland, Skip Hersey, and Gilbert Dozier were really getting it on.
He's going to be a great inspiration to Bill, Dan, and Ernie.
Great family. Now 28 drops low. You see Cale Yarborough taking a very low line as he scoots through 1 and 2, and up on the outside comes Dale Earnhardt in number 3. The yellow and blue number 3 of Earnhardt wings it down into the back straightaway, and he's back for 2nd. Meanwhile, maintaining 4th is Elliott. He's still very much in this race. Petty is 5th. Bobby Allison 6th. In 7th is Richmond. There is the leader. That is Darrell Waltrip out in front. And remember, the number 15 car, Ricky Rudd, is running a lap down. 10 machines in the lead lap.
And many of those cars that are a lap down, Ken, were a lap down as a result of an early pit stop on a green flag as the caution came out immediately after that. And before it came out, there's a lot of cars like very competitively out there, even though they were racing on circumstances.
You know, that one of the little smoke pouring off car number 11. We noticed it earlier, a little more off the right rear, it looked like.
I wonder if he didn't get in that turn a little bit too hard, maybe, and the rear wheel slipped a little bit. I believe that's where the smoke was coming from, but he had to have an anxious moment left in.
I'll put him down to Fabric if he does that more than a couple of times.
We heard him say a little bit ago when he talked to us, well, not live, we did that interview yesterday, that trying to keep yourself from overdriving here is a very important factor.
You know, Ned, one of the really nice things about going to Dawsonville, Georgia, we came back with enough things to do about another 4 stories down there. George Elliott is in the inside lap rambling, and Mama Reese, the grandmother, who I believe is 87 years young this year, and she is a great supporter. She's watching today and hoping that Elliott brings it back home. And the mother is here. There you see car number 55, Benny Parsons. George Elliott's wife, Martha's here. She was bitten by a copperhead snake last week. Didn't hardly bother her at all, they said, but the snake died.
Well, these are pit stops, regular pit stops, will be coming up shortly.
We'll return to the Michigan International Speedway for more live coverage of the Michigan 400 after this word from your local station. Yeah.
Paved away,
Rudd on pit road now. Yep.
Remember, he'd been a lap down. There's Rusty Wallace up on the outside on number 2. Earnhardt is now on pit road. Dale Earnhardt, who had the lead.
And Bill Elliott.
And Richard Petty now assumes first place. Richard Petty now goes into first place overall in the race. Let's go to Mike Joy.
It'll be right side tires this time for Bill Elliott. Ernie reaches out. He's going to clean some bugs off the grill, if you will, to get enough cool air in there to keep this thing running at temperature. 2 cans of gas, still very calm. Dumps the clutch.
They have 4-speed transmissions in these cars again. As you can see, Bill up to third gear right now, drops her back and forth, takes off.
The Harry Melling team. They come from Jackson, Michigan, the team with their base. Now they're in Dawsonville, Georgia. Land of Roy Hall, Seed, Sosby. Kyle Block Brothers ran out of that part of the country all the way
From around the Atlanta area.
Yep.
Right. Kyle Petty, Neil Bonnet, and Buddy Baker all made pit stops. And here Richard Petty, the leader, as Kyle comes out of the pits and tries to move up alongside of Dad. Kyle is trying to get back in the lead lap. What Father's Day? I guess that's right. Well, should you be trying to take those?
Yeah, but he's not being very nice to his father. Richard wants the inside line. I don't think Kyle's going to give it to him wrapped in a bow.
No, sir. He has those new tires on coming down on the inside. That's not for the lead. That's for Kyle to get back in the lead lap because Kyle just made a pit stop and he does get himself back in the lead lap. Richard has a pit stop coming up here very shortly.
On the sort out, Petty first, Allison second, Richmond third, Bouchard fourth, Marcus fifth at the present time. Now Bobby Allison is pitting and Tim Richmond comes in, leaving Petty out there. Car number 22, Bobby Allison on pit road. We understand that the in-car camera on Bobby Allison's car is not giving us pictures right now. Perhaps the battery's the issue there. Number 27, Tim Richmond. What a dandy race he's having.
Left side tires for him. Jimmy Maycar changing the left front tire, get him back on his way as Allison goes out as well.
Rusty Wallace, you see him pitting car number 2. That's a team you would like to see have a very good day.
He had some problems earlier. He was on pit road with the hood up on the car. Been running very well since then.
Well, as they continue to sort them out here this afternoon, we are now at 128 laps. The story has been Darrell Waltrip for some time in the event. But just as important is that Richard Petty seemed to have cured the maladies that he's had. Ron Bouchard's number 47 now on pit road. Bouchard's having a good day. Jake Elder taking over as crew chief. Maybe that'll make a difference in the BB car.
He is having a good run today. They just have not been able to finish races. But maybe today will be the day that they can put it all together and stay in there. Waltrip, of course, has made his pit stop. Richard Petty now, the last of the front runners to come into the pits. He's getting good gas mileage today on his car.
That ought to give it back to number 11, Waltrip, as the leader with all of these pit stops. Now Allison's been in. Richmond's been in. I don't know about Dave Marcus. That's the only exception here.
That would be the only exception, and they're going to the right side on Richard Petty's car, number 43.
Marcus just came across the line. They may show him in the lead momentarily here. Dave Marcus at number 71.
Could be. They had a dinner for Dave here on Friday night out at the Throttles Restaurant, a place that he frequents quite often, and one of his sponsors, where they commemorated his 500 starts in Grand National Racing.
Richard Petty away in car number 43.
Let's see how it stacks up now that once it gets back in the running. Now, many times if they make a 14, 15-second pit stop, that's good. The only time, the time that they're stopped. But the slow down time, the speed up time is very important as well. Sometimes we see a difference after they get back out on the racetrack, and we see Bobby Allison and Tim Richmond getting back together again after they have made their stop. And Dave Marcus
is being shown as the leader.
Well, that's great. I'll tell you, I can see him up front.
Number 71, an independent. Drove for Roger Penske for some time. Dave Marcus. And he is a good race driver.
He is, and one of the hardest working people on the circuit.
Car number 71 has the lead. Number 11, Waltrip will be shown in second. Cale Yarborough in third. Bill Elliott in fourth. And in fifth, Richard Petty. Ron Bouchard is pitting another time. Ron Bouchard's number 47 is coming in for right side rubber under green. Meanwhile, you see car number 27. And 71 comes in, and he comes in very easily here. gingerly. As a pickup crew, a lot of places, 2 or 3 regulars that come with him, and a lot of folks just like him. He's got to meet around the circuit. There's Bouchard back on pit road another time.
Marcus only has 2 full-time employees, Ken, so he does much of the work on the cars himself as they continue to work on the left side of Bouchard's car. But then you compare the situation with Marcus with, say, a Darrell Waltrip, who perhaps has 15 people working on his race car. So it's good to see a guy like that get up front. He has his service now. Marcus goes back out into the action, and Waltrip is the leader once again after the round pit stop.
Indeed he is. There he is, Darrell Waltrip. They get a shot at first place another time. He had built himself a fairly good advantage, and as you see here, he's been able to recoup that after this caution period. Car number 47 back into the line of fire again. Comes the Ron Bouchard car for that pit stop at the Michigan International Speedway. They're all watching this man, Darrell Waltrip, to see if anybody can contain him and if Bill Elliott can get back in this thing. Earnhardt 5th, Richmond in 6th. Running in the 7th position, Bobby Allison. And in 8th is Neil Bonnet. Neil Bonnet currently in the 8th position with car number 12. Last Tuesday night, Neil Bonnet went to a short track. That is the thing he calls his golf. That's what happened to Neil Bonnet's brand new car at the Slinger Speedway in Wisconsin on Tuesday night. He left the engine on the ground, tore the left front wheel completely off, destroyed that V6, and he says his shoulders are still a little sore. Now, for a special report, we go to Dan Rather at CBS News headquarters in New York. Okay. Maintaining the 3rd position, Caliabro. Richard Petty, having his best day of the year, is in 4th.
And the lead is beginning to dwindle, Ken Squire. Bill Elliott is definitely gaining on Darrell Waltrip.
You can see him flat footing. He's got that Brogan right pasted to the board as he comes around. Featherfoot's just a little. There he is, right back at it hard as Elliott is trying to close it up on Darrell Waltrip. Has a tire story.
Ron Bouchard made that second unscheduled pit stop, and the reason was he thought a tire had equalized, that the safety inner liner had grown to the same pressure as the outer tire. They changed the tires and found nothing wrong. They've got several ways of measuring how the tire and how the car is working. These little indentations are wear marks, although most of the tire is slicked straight across. And they have a pyrometer. It's like a little thermometer, a little needle they can stick into the tire at 3 points across its tread to make sure that it's working well and evenly all across the tire by being the same temperature. This tire's a little hotter in the center. Indicates they might want to make a handling adjustment, or perhaps it was just a set of tires that wasn't perfectly matched to the handling setup on the car. They'll get to find out in the one final pit stop, and about that, Chris Economaki.
Well, there are 59 laps left in this race, and if the green flag stays out, each car will make one more pit stop. Now, last time by the stands, and here comes the leader, Darrell Waltrip, right now. We'll get the timing on him. It was 2 minutes and 1 second. It's now 1.72100 seconds, the interval between first and second place. The last round of pit stops. Waltrip's crew, Earnhardt's crew, and Elliott's crew all were done in inside of 15 seconds. It could well be that the pit crew will win or lose this race for one of those men out there on the track. Back to you, Ken.
Thank you, Chris. Yes, indeed. That last pit stop is going to be absolutely critical. There you see. There's the battle a little further back. That is the fight that's going on for 5th place. Dale Earnhardt and Tim Richmond. Earnhardt has just passed Richmond. Richmond was running a very low line, and here's Richmond coming back again. Now with Elliott, you can see him trying to close that interval on the leader.
He is definitely moving up on him. He has that Ford working better now, it seems, Ken, than he did earlier in the race. And maybe he just had turned the thing loose up to this point.
1 3/10 of a second, the difference between first and second position. Bill Elliott, his first win at a super speedway oval was in this event a year ago. And since then, Elliott's been dominating in Grand National racing. He has won 9 times in the last 12 months. He's won 8 of the 11 last super speedway races. That's not counting Riverside, which is a road course. The first win came at Riverside, California. Of course, he's trying to duplicate the feat of a year ago. He won here so dramatic. Look at this battle. It continues for 5th. Taking you back to 5th place. Tim Richmond on the inside, number 27. Dale Earnhardt on the outside, running the lead lap, fighting for 5th. We'll be back with more of the dramatic action of the Michigan 400 in a moment. 48 laps complete, this time by. As Waltrip is in front, Elliott second, Yarborough third. There you see the leader, and closing dramatically. Bill Elliott pulling up. You can see a little smoke apparently coming out from under number 11. And here comes number 9, Bill Elliott, right up on the rear bumper as they fight for the first position. Now you see Cale Yarborough. He is maintaining the 3rd position. Cale Yarborough is in 3rd. Richard Petty is in 4th, and this is the battle for 5th. Right now in 5th is Tim Richmond, and in 6th is car number 3, Dale Earnhardt. Out in 7th is Allison, 8th is Marcus, 9th is Bonnet, 10th is Ricky Rudd. Back with the leaders another time. The crowd on their feet, loving it, as Bill Elliott's beginning to make his move. Down the inside, Bill Elliott's going back to first position. Elliott storming the Ford Thunderbird of Harry Melling. Down the inside, getting beneath the Junior Johnson, number 11. Back on the inside, here comes number 11. Waltrip ready to fight. Waltrip is up there. They're side by side, and Waltrip, as you're inside Elliott's car, is going back for the lead. Now Elliott on the outside. What a fantastic race. If you're riding with Bill Elliott. Back they come through the banking another time. Elliott on the high side, Waltrip low. Waltrip wobbled for just a moment then.
Yes, he does, but his car's working well down on the inside. But now Elliott working very well on the outside, too, with a lot of horsepower on the hood.
Here they are, side by side for the moment. Elliott draws the bead. Elliott with that high line. Here comes Waltrip diving down to the inside. Still see a little smidgen of smoke off the back of car number 11. Elliott out in front by 1 car length. Cale Yarborough line 3rd. And now from Elliott's car, you look back and see Waltrip.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if Waltrip can pick up the draft of Elliott and stay with him, because he has come from about 2.5 seconds down and caught him and passed him.
That last lap, they were averaging 156.18 miles per hour on this 2-mile track, inches apart, floating these 3,700-pound cars through the turns. And this throng loves the performance of these 2 racing giants. Elliott has put himself right up there among the great names of American stock car racing.
And, of course, the great rivalry between Ford and Chevrolet. They're seeing that battle at its best here today.
Three-quarter mark of the race as they lap Buddy Arrington, now complete. There's Elliott out in front. That's another one of those great family stories, Ned. George Elliott putting a lot of faith in these boys, buying them some parts over the years, and they have done it all themselves up in Dawsonville, Georgia, and they now lead the Michigan 400.
I believe he's got to pull away now. Well, maybe not.
Whoop. Can we get a more detailed rundown sometime, Bob? Go a little further back. What you need, Ned?
I think it would be to give a more detailed rundown on back to 20th or so if we could.
Grand Prix, the American stop off of this World Tour, racing through the streets of Detroit, and you'll see it at 1 o'clock Eastern, right here, live, flag to flag, CBS style, next Sunday. At the Michigan International Speedway, you're watching live as Bill Elliott has regrouped his forces and charged back in the lead. He's battled with Darrell Waltrip, and he now has the advantage over him, with Cale Yarborough maintaining third, Richard Petty in fourth, Tim Richmond in fifth. There is one more pit stop to be made in this race. There you see the Cale Yarborough car, which is maintaining third position. A report from Chris Economaki about another one of these drivers in the top 10 today.
Okay, you know, there's some lovely people in stock car racing. It was mentioned earlier that Dave Marcus is starting his 500th Grand National race today, because pit crew got together and are going to present him this plaque at the end of the day. A quick story about Dave Marcus. A number of years ago, I asked him why he raced in lace-up, pebble-grained, white wingtip shoes, and he said, well, I got a great buy on them. And last year he came to me and he showed me a brand new pair, the same kind of shoes, the kind you'd see in London, or the well-dressed British are wearing on Piccadilly Circus. And I said, what happened to the old ones, Dave? Were they worn out? He says, no, I just went into the $1 million category, so I sent them out to be bronze. I'm going to keep them home on my desk. An interesting story about Dave Marcus, number 71 on the track, and back to you, Ken.
Chris, he's wearing those new wingtips out there right now, and he's winging along at a pretty good clip. Car number 71. Staying just outside at the present time of the top 10. Dave Marcus.
Again, he got one of his big breaks in racing when Bobby Isaac had a problem driving for Harry Hyde, the old K&K insurance team, many years ago. And Bobby had a physical problem, couldn't drive the race car. Dave got in the car that day and was leading the race with 7 laps to go when the engine blew. And so he let the world know right then that he could drive a race car.
He is now officially shown in 8th position. 8th position with 9 cars running the lead lap. And car number 22, Bobby Allison, is on pit road. Allison pulling on the pit road is once again, you're inside Bill Elliott's car as he's making some distance over the second place man, Darrell Waltrip. Bobby Allison's car on pit road. For a moment, we had a picture back. Hello. Car number 22, getting left side tires, Bobby Allison.
Yeah, this is a little earlier than I thought they would come in for their last pit stop. I thought they would go somewhere at the 170 range. A good pit stop for Bobby Allison, a little less than 14 seconds.
There's Terry Labonte looking at Bill Elliott. Terry Labonte's number 44, running a lap down. The 9th place car in the lead lap is Bonnet. In 10th place, a lap down at the present time is Ricky Rudd, and also in that same lap is Ron Bouchard in 11th position. There's Terry Labonte down the back straightaway, headed for turn number 3 of this 2-mile oval. One of the nicest racetracks we know of to watch a super speedway event.
It is a beautifully designed track and very well kept, and it is a pleasure to come here. You have a good feeling when you drive inside the gate. Ken, let me say that even though Bobby Allison came in a little earlier than we anticipated, he still can go the distance from here on because they have less than 100 miles to go.
When he came in, he was running in 7th. This will put him on the tail end of the lead lap, dropping back into 9th position behind Neil Bonnet. They all have one more stop to make. There's your leader, Bill Elliott. His first Grand National car was an old pale blue Ford Richie Panchin campaign several years earlier. His big break came back in 1977 when his dad bought all that equipment from Roger Penske, when George Elliott bought all that stuff. And there was a great deal of controversy because Junior Johnson at that time thought he owned the equipment on Tuesday, and by Wednesday they had it in Dawsonville, Georgia.
They did, and that was a big break for Bill Elliott. And here's Richard Petty, trouble on the Pontiac of Richard Petty.
Well, it's another engine problem for Richard Petty this year.
He's had a lot of that, Ken, already. He had engine problems last week and several other races before. It's got to be a disgusting situation because this was one of the better runs for Richard Petty. And here's a guy that's got a hat on. Richard wears a black hat, but he's got one on that same design, or maybe it's a lady. But with Richard Petty all over, she can't be too happy. But Richard Petty's got to be the disappointed one in this situation.
We'll check the attrition rate for you again as to those cars which have fallen by the wayside of our live coverage of the Michigan 400 today. Bill Elliott still out in front. You know, when Elliott made the deal and got that equipment from the Roger Penske team, that is where they may have begun the research and development and the beginning of the power source, which has now become so controversial and they're so secretive about it.
It could very well be, Ken. There's a guy by the name of Larry Whitman who was doing some research work on heads for Roger Penske, and he is now supposedly doing a lot of the head work for the Elliott team. He has a different concept. It's all being done by computer design, and the story is coming out this week in the Hot Rod magazine, and it's going to sort of let the world know if indeed they're running these heads, and that is his secret. So maybe his secrets have come to the forefront here now.
Well, it's a great story. It's called the soft head, but I don't think that you're ever going to find out what Ernie Elliott knows.
I don't think so either, because they do so much behind the closed doors down there in Dawsonville, Georgia. But he was a little concerned that the story broke because, you know, any portion of a secret that you have, you want to keep it to yourself, and they have been running so super well. But the concept of this head design that he has come up, it's on the inside of the heads. It's certainly legal because they use the forward heads as is permitted by NASCAR, but he has designed a system where they can burn all of the fuel. It helps you get better fuel mileage and can get the horsepower with a lesser amount of fuel.
It gets an incredible compression rate, something like 16 to 1.
That's another thing. The General Motors cars primarily run about 12.5 to 1 compression ratio. Some of them might go as high as 13, but you have hot spots in it. You stand a chance of burning a piston, but with this 16.5 burning all the fuel, run that higher compression, and it does boost up the horsepower.
There you see Cale Yarborough running in third position, number 28. And some of the problems he's been having seem to have been rectified. Car number 28 looking very good. There's Bobby Allison, the 22 car, still very much in this race. Allison has made his pit stop and come back out. Now we have our camera back with Bobby Allison another time as you follow Harry Gann, who has had the misfortune of the day. He has been star-crossed here at Michigan.
His car is not working as well now as it did earlier, Ken. You see the car's fender flapping as Bobby Allison moves on the inside of him, but after that accident, he just simply hasn't been able to go back to the speed that he was running earlier.
Elliott leads by 4.5 seconds, Ned. More than 4.5.
Not too long ago, he was almost 3 seconds behind, so he's gained about 8 seconds.
He's lapping Neil Bonnet at number 12. He's lapping what had been ninth place car.
I believe he just decided to turn that thing loose.
Mike Joy is with Richard Petty.
Well, Richard, they started to pull a valve cover off and take a look, but it looks like this one's posted in and it's done for the day.
Yeah, I think this is pretty well kicked up. I don't know what happened. We had oil pressure and everything, and going up the backstretch, the thing tightened up, so it must be, you know, they've been having a little trouble with some pistons and stuff, so it must have been a gall of the piston or something like that.
While the engine ran, did you have enough horsepower to run with them?
Well, we had enough to run with them as long as we was in the draft. Use the draft down the straightaway was pretty good, but I couldn't pull out and pass anybody, but you know, as long as I can run with them, then it's up to me to get through the corner and beat anybody.
Boy, as tough as it was to win 200 Grand National races, trying for 201 has been even tougher.
Well, if you hadn't got the equipment or you hadn't, you know, got the whole deal going for you, then there's no way you can win. And just like today, you know, we didn't have a chance to win because we're sitting here in the pit, and that's been the story of our deal for the last probably 6 months.
Well, that's been the season. How can you still smile when it's all like this?
Well, I don't like to cry in front of this many people.
Richard Petty.
Hard story on Richard Petty this year. That 200th victory, the Firecracker 400 a year ago, right now, July 4th last year. Wallchip, little smoke still following along, tagging car number 11. Let's review further back in the field for you. We've talked about the top 10. In ninth, after that pit stop, Bobby Allison. Running in 10th is Jeff Bodine. Allison being is shown a lap down. He'll gather that back up when the other cars in that lead lap have to pit. 11th is Benny Parsons. In 12th is Ron Bouchard. 13th is Kyle Petty. 14th is Buddy Baker. 15th is Lake Speed. 2 laps down, and 16th is Lenny Pond. 17th is Jim Sauter. Then 3 laps down, and 18th is Phil Parsons. In 19th is Tommy Ellis, Friedlander car, number 18. And then in 20th is car number 44, Terry Labonte, who started outside of the front row. And for the second straight race, Terry Labonte's number 44 has been falling back. And the man who won the national championship is seeing that fall through his fingers now.
2 weeks ago, he was leading the point standings before the race last weekend at Pocono, Pennsylvania. He lost a cylinder, ran much of the race on 7 cylinders, and then finally had to drop out. And now in the early going of this race today, had a similar kind of a problem, so that's going to drop him even further behind in the point standings, which are so critical now as we head into the second part of the season.
Dale Elliott continues to put him on. Here he is about to lap Kyle Petty as he goes back back into turn number 3. You see the gauges dancing, his hand just flicking that steering wheel. That's at 160 miles an hour. He just eases off the throttle, perhaps a little break in lap cars, and starts to move in again.
That's Dave Marcus directly in front of him. That would be the last car on the lead lap, and it looks like he's going to pass him with ease. He picks up on the draft, moves right by on the outside, and the motor's right around as he picks up the draft of Ron Bichard. And boy, when you get in practice, if you can get another car directly in front of you, if he had Bichard, it makes it much easier to motor on by.
So he just lapped the 6th-place car. That's what you saw there as he moved around at lap number 71 Marcus. Tim Richmond, number 27, coming in. 4th-place car is on pit road. 4th-place automobile is on pit road.
This would be a scheduled pit stop for Tim Richmond and should be his last one of the day. He slides it into the pits. They are going to change the left side tires. One of the crew members, we can see him reaching inside, making a little chassis adjustment on that car. It wasn't a big chassis adjustment. He said, I need just a little bit here towards the end.
Just about 2 lugs, just about 2 pulls.
Good pit stop, 12 and a half seconds for Barry Dodson, Jimmy Maycar, and the rest of that crew on Tim Richmond's car.
168 laps now completed the 200-lap event. Bobby Allison was asked about Bill Elliott. Bobby, what do you think about Bill Elliott's success?
He's so incredibly fast, and he is everywhere. You know, Pocono, he lollygagged around there and ran half throttle, I guess, about 9/10 of the race, and then mashed down and won the race. He's got it in his corner right now, and I'm proud of him because they're keeping their stuff to themselves, and he's still the same kind of guy he always was, good old Huckleberry Finn.
Bobby Allison, some comments about this young man, Bill Elliott, who is looking like he's on his way to still another victory. He's number 1 in the nation. He's dominating NASCAR Grand National Racing. The only part of his program that isn't working is the short track. Cale Yarborough coming on pit road. His short track program, they built a special short track car, and it was destroyed in the first short track race of the year at Richmond, Virginia. A terrible crash. But other than that, boy, are those Elliott kids having a year.
They really are, Ken. There's no question about it. And Bobby Allison is saying that they're keeping the stuff to themselves. We wonder if the thing we talked about there a moment ago now is about to let part of the cat out of the bag. But I asked Ernie Elliott yesterday, after that story came out, I said, Ernie, what's this going to do for you? I said, I'm sure that that's not all your marbles that they're taking away. He just sort of grinned in his Georgia way, and he says, we got more up our sleeve. So I don't think it's over with.
12.5-second pit stop on Cale Yarborough puts him back in the race. Still, Elliott leads. Waltrip second. They should be pitting shortly. Canadian Grand Prix at Montreal this afternoon on St. Catharines Island. Ferrari finishes first and second. Michele Alboreto of Italy winning. Stefan Johansson, who has stepped into the Ferrari team, replacing Arnoux, finishes second. And that is some story on Stefan Johansson finishing second today. More about that next week when we bring you the United States edition of World Championship Grand Prix racing this year in Detroit, in the streets next week. Alain Prost of France finished third for McLaren. Keke Rosberg of Finland for Team Williams was fourth, and Elio De Angelis, the pole sitter for Team Lotus, wound up in fifth. Again, it is a Ferrari sweep at the Canadian Grand Prix today. Here's Waltrip coming on pit road.
This should be his last pit stop, and let's go to Chris, the counterback.
Okay, Waltrip stops in a cloud of smoke here. Right side tires, a clean windshield, and fuel, but no chassis adjustment. Apparently, he likes the car the way it's going. There's an awful lot of smoke in the car. And jack it down, and he goes 12.95 seconds, and that's great pit work. Back to you, Ken.
No one's wasting any time here on pit road. These final pit stops under green, critical. No caution to help any of these leaders as they try to run down Bill Elliott.
It's a good day for the pit crew, Ken. It's not hot down there, and we have seen some very good pit stops turned in. Many of them under 13 seconds. That one by Waltrip a little bit under 13 seconds. Yet to come in is this man, Bill Elliott. He should be coming before long. One thing this article said that I didn't allude to a moment ago that's coming out about the heads that he supposedly is using on this car is that it helps to get better fuel mileage, and Bill Elliott has dramatically improved the fuel mileage on this car in the last year. In fact, he lost the second race right here at Michigan that was run without caution as a result of running out of gas near the end of the race.
Well, the other car that had fuel mileage a year ago in so many races was the Allison car. Some of that technology may have been around a bit.
Yes, I'm sure there are certain things that you can do, I guess, to getting the good fuel mileage. Junior Johnson says when you get better gas mileage than I get, bet you got a bigger gas tank than I got.
Looks like about 2 laps before they're going to bring Elliott in. You can see Dan Elliott in the red jacket. All right, there's David Pearson being lapped, 4-time winner here. Haas Ellington car. And there's Elliott again in the back straightaway. And there is Dale Earnhardt, number 3. Earnhardt line right up among the leaders now in 3rd position with Cale loaded in 2nd. That's got to change.
Yeah, Cale has made a pit stop. In fact, I don't believe Earnhardt has made his pit stop yet.
He should be 2nd. Here's the leader coming in within the next 2, and he picks it right now. Earnhardt running 2nd. Okay, they turn it all over to these men. Here's Mike Joy.
It'll be right side tires this time, Ken. They kept Elliott way in close to the wall. No tires. No tires. They did not take on tires. Gas only, and he's away. His pit stop time is about 8 seconds faster than Walter.
An interesting situation there. That car was working so well, and they had checked their tire wear, I guess, from past pit stop. Said, hey, we don't need any tires. They got about 25 laps to go, 50 miles to go. Says we can run on these tires. So Elliott, well, maybe it's a gamble, maybe it isn't. I don't know, because they know, they've checked it out. They know what they're doing.
26 laps remaining. Ernie Elliott really pulling off the middle of the deck here as he decided not to go with rubber. Remember, we saw a race with $200,000 decided by tires in the special event for winners of last year at Charlotte, North Carolina, when Walter beat Gant right on the last moment of the last lap because Terry Gant's tires went away, and last week Bodine had Elliott beaten, and then his tires went away and put Elliott in victory lane. Now here's the 2nd place car. Earnhardt in 2nd, now coming on pit road.
Actually, I think he should have taken over the lead when Elliott had made his pit stop. So this would be Earnhardt's last pit stop, and they're going to the left side on his car. So he is taking on other tires. Mike Joy talked about the stagger in the tires a little bit earlier, Ken, and he said that you don't know how much tires might grow. You can predict it. They had a set of tires on the car that was working well for them. Apparently, they're not wearing too badly for them down there today, so they said, let's don't take a chance of getting a mismatched set of tires.
Well, there's another quickie on number 3, Earnhardt, wasting no time. Out in 13 seconds and back on it once again. Number 11, Waltrip. Let's see if he's going to elect to come in right now.
No, he just made his pit stop not long ago, so he should be set for the rest of the race.
So among our leaders, just about everybody has been in that's a player here up in front now. Neil Bonnett's just in, and he's just out. Does that complete the list?
That completes the list.
Jim has been in.
Bonnet had gone a lap down, as we saw Elliott lap him not too long ago.
Okay, if that's the case then, Elliott would be 1st, Waltrip would be 2nd, Cale would be 3rd overall in the race, and then Dale Earnhardt would be in 4th, and Tim Richmond would be in 5th. We'll return to the Michigan International Speedway for more live coverage of the Michigan 400 after this word from your local station. 3rd place finisher, 84, he won it, and here he is dominating, leading by 19 seconds, Ned Jarrett, as we get down to 180 laps complete, this time by 20 to go.
Much of that lead, of course, was built by just flat out running on the racetrack. He did pick up several seconds when he elected to take on only fuel during his last pit stop, but he is continuing to pull away, and he has loosened the reins on that thing, it looks like, here in the last 100 miles or so.
Harry Gantz, number 33, is back on pit for another time. Mike Joy is with the team owner, Harry Melling, right now.
Harry, when you won half a dozen races, you can gamble a little bit, but is that a big gamble, not taking on tires?
Well, we gambled, and we might not have put enough gas in. It could be awful close.
I thought that second can had a lot left in it when he pulled away.
Well, he left before we got it in, so we'll just see what's going to happen.
They were looking at the clipboard here on pit road and counting off the laps, and there seem to be a lot of them. They're genuinely concerned about fuel mileage. Let's go to Chris.
Well, it's been said that racing is a monkey see, monkey do business. But when it comes right down to the final pit stop, that's not the case. John Waltrip stopped and took on right side tires. Dale Earnhardt stopped and took on left side tires. And Bill Elliott stopped and didn't take on any tires. We'll see in a few minutes who guessed right. Back to you, Ken.
10 Grand National wins for Bill Elliott, and now the guessing game is really up for grabs.
And those 10 wins have all come on the 10 super speedways of NASCAR. He's won one on each of those. He's won on every super speedway there is, but has only won one on each of those. And it did look like he pulled out of the pits awfully early, because normally it takes as long to fill the car up with gas as it does to change the tires. And so, of course, they would not have needed an absolute full tank of fuel if they needed most of it.
$2,181,000 have been collected by Bill Elliott thus far in his Grand National career. Will he take a big bite out of this purse, or will he run out of gas? We'll know shortly.
Okay, thank you. Or should we stay here till 4:30?
Bob Stenner, when I get it back, for a moment after the news report, you can get that camera up on the roll bar in front of Elliott's head, up on the front of the race car. I want to do a little piece about that. There's a feather up there. Okay, the in-car camera in Elliott's car, up over the steering wheel, the roll bar above the steering wheel. I want to see it sometime. We've got something to do with that. No, it's on the roll bar right in front of him. Right in front. Pan slightly right, pan right, and come up, and you should see it. Okay, it's right there. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, shoot. Okay. Oh, yes, you can. It's there. It's taped on. Misjudged fuel stop may send Bill Elliott back on pit road here in the Michigan 400. 184 laps have been completed. He continues to stay out in front at this time. Now for a special report, we go to Dan Rather at CBS News headquarters in New York. Flag-to-flag coverage. Bill Elliott of Dawsonville, Georgia, sustains a mighty big lead, better than 19 seconds over the second-place runner. Darrell Walker, Tail Yarborough maintains third. And in fourth is Tim Richmond with the pit spot, Dale Earnhardt. Let's go back to Mike Joy on pit road.
When Bill Elliott made what will probably be his last pit stop, they did have a little bit of a miscue here on pit road. Elliott got only one of 2 cans of gasoline, and that's 11 gallons. At the mileage he's been getting today, that would allow him to run 49.5 miles. He stopped on lap 173 with 54 miles to go. If when Bill Elliott stopped, he had more than 1 gallon in the gas tank, he can go the distance. And the Elliott team is fairly confident of that. If not, who knows?
Thank you, Mike. Just above that rear view mirror is a duck's feather. The dreaded ducktail effect that throws the air off the car. Well, they actually put one of those feathers in there. You know, it has that slant rear window, and they say that the feather may have flown away out there. They just in front. He's being shown in 7th position at the present time. It's 20 seconds. But the ducktail effect of the board may be hampered in this new carburetor regulation that Ned Jarrett was talking about at the outset of our program today.
It will be interesting to see how much it does slow the cars when they go to Daytona. Ken, it's the opinion of a lot of people that it might slow them 4, 5, 6 miles an hour at Daytona, and which would make for better racing as we have 10 laps to go now to the end of this Michigan 400. And I think it's been proven over the years that slower speeds, a little bit slower, sometimes can make for closer competition, because, well, we had some close competition here earlier today.
Allison looking back at Elliott, and Elliott has been willing to stay in the draft of Allison over the past several laps. He's just been holding there, maybe trying to get an extra fuel mileage.
That's exactly what he's doing. He caught Allison easy, but he stayed right on his bumper, so he is conserving fuel right now, staying on the back bumper and drafting him. He has a good enough lead, so all he needs to do is sit there and try to conserve as much of that fuel as possible. It's hard to estimate just how much he is saving, but it's been thought in the past that you could save from 15 to 20% fuel mileage by running in the draft of another car on a high-speed racetrack.
Darrell Waltrip lurking in 2nd place. Stevie Waltrip scoring. They're all gambling on Elliott now. 9 cars out of the race. 28 still running. There's Darrell Waltrip coming back across the line another time.
Of course, that was Stevie up in the corner, and Darrell Waltrip might have company before long, because Cale Yarber is gaining on him. He's only about a 1.5 seconds behind.
Here's Elliott. Closing down, 8 laps to go this time by. Stays right there with Allison.
Conserving the fuel. Allison, smart move.
Allison in 6 now, and 6 cars being shown. 6 cars being shown up.
Trevor Boyce on car number 49, driving for James Hilton once again. This is the first race after they got back together after a couple of years together in the past.
Seemed good to see James Hilton in uniform the other day. He was out here with number 98, and they had problems, and number 98 did not start.
James has already retired at least twice this year.
Back straight away. Elliott willing to wait it out. And I would imagine that's a fervent brow on young Bill Elliott right now, as I'm sure they've communicated to him on the radio that they may have a fuel problem, that they didn't take on enough fuel in the last stop, and they may run him dry before it's over. There's Waltrip in the back straightaway in 2nd, and here comes Cale in 3rd, closing round. Cale Yarborough moving up. Things looking a little better for Cale today, although you saw some fire coming out from the bottom of that car. Rusty Wallace, number 2, getting lapped. Elliott stays there. Here's Jeff Bodine getting lapped. Waltrip makes a move on him. Bodine's been a lap down. Bodine being shown back in 12th position. And now there are 7.
Just 14 miles to go, so can he stretch that mileage? He is doing the smart thing. He's let Rusty Wallace creep right up on him after Wallace, of course, went a lap down, but Elliott now not running full throttle. He's not running as fast as that car will go, but he's smart to be doing that, trying to conserve as much fuel as he possibly can, because he knows if he makes a pit stop, only have to be in the pit stop. There's Stevie Waltrip, very concerned about Darrell. She knows that Cale Yarborough is moving in on him, and, well, can Elliott make it? There's his crew member there, figuring once again, can we stretch it? What can we do? They just stand there hope and pray, really.
Waltrip ready to pounce from 2nd place. Anything should go right. 18 and 9/10 of a second, as letting up on the throttle just a little here is Bill Elliott trying to nurse car to fine hole. 194 laps have been complete. When they come by this time, there will be 5 laps remaining. 5 laps. Will Elliott have to duck in? If he does,
he knows it would be tough to come in. He would only be stopped perhaps for 4 or 5 seconds, but the slowdown period and getting his speed back up is what would really cost him.
Waltrip 3rd, Richmond 4th, Earnhardt 5th, Bobby Allison in 6th. In 7th, Ricky Rudd. In 8th, Neil Bonnet. Our next NASCAR Grand National Race, Talladega, Alabama, end of July, July 28th, the Talladega 500. Always a great race. We saw Ron Bouchard in that great dramatic finish there several years ago, and they always bring him across side by side.
Last year it was, what, 16 or 17 cars in the lead laps coming down for the checker flag?
Remarkable number of lead changes. It's coming up July 28th here on CBS. to the line. Motioning a lap car down. It's Buddy Baker about to be overlapped. Rusty Wallace scoots down low.
Well, that has to give him a thrill to pass the fastest car on the circuit right now.
Rookie of the year, 1 year back, Rusty Wallace, a number 2 out of Missouri.
We're wondering if he's slowing. He's not slowing too much to maintain his lead, but I guess this is a planned situation by Bill. He's picking up the draft of Wallace there now, just trying to conserve every ounce of fuel.
If he doesn't have the gas, he'll take any kind of a hitchhike he can to get this car home. Time running out, and is the fuel running out on Bill Elliott's car number 9. That is the issue. With 3 laps to go, this time lapse.
Well, all of us have been told for years that the faster you go on the highway, the more fuel you burn. If you stay down under the 55 miles an hour, then you're going to use less fuel. Same thing on the racetrack.
There you see that interval begins to blaze away, and that did not get you all the way back to car number 11. That second place machine, Walter, running now about 17 seconds back. And you still see some smoldering coming out the lead car number 11. Here's Mike Joy.
Looking over the shoulder of the Elliott team, they're keeping every lap on Bill. At the start of the race, he was running his times 44.8 seconds. Then he slowed to the mid-45s, and about 10 laps to go into the 46s. Last lap by 47.3 seconds. He's pulled back way out of the throttle trying to nurse this car home.
Nervousness sets in on pit road for the Elliots as they try to get car number 9 home. And if you could do it on prayers, they flip this car around now.
No question about that. A very Christian family, and I'm sure that there's a lot of praying going on. Maybe not only here, but in Dawsonville, Georgia, too.
Mama Reese, I'm sure she's very determined to see her grandson pull this one away. Now he lets the 17 car go through Letty Pond. Last race for this carburetor, smaller carburetor coming up when they go to Daytona.
Now, if he had that carburetor today, there wouldn't be any question about the fuel again. They'll get better mileage with that smaller carburetor. But
all right, white flag coming out. You'll see it. That's about all Bill Elliott saw of it. What you saw of it is we're into the last lap.
He could just about coast her home from here. He has 17 seconds lead. A little less than 17 seconds now, but he can just about coast her home.
But if it should burn right here out of 2, say hello, Darrell Walter. Here he is back straight away. Motoring, being as conservative as he can with this car. What a beautiful car these people put out. Their garage may not be the most sanitary in the world, but their car is certainly some of the most beautiful when they bring them out to the racetrack.
Every time they bring them to the racetrack, it looks like a brand new automobile. And he was prepared that way.
Bill Elliott seeking just a little more mileage, searching to get that victory under his belt and win his 7th race, crown on its feet, and Bill Elliott has done it. Car number 9 comes across the line. The Elliots of Dawsonville, Georgia have won the Michigan 400 on this Father's Day. Here's Darrell Waltrip coming across for 2nd. Cale Yarborough closing right upon him for 3rd. About 10 car lengths back as they cross the stripe. The 4th position will go to Tim Richmond. Getting a little air in there. Bill Elliott remains number 1 in Grand National Racing. With this victory today, he stays on top of the point battle, and for the 2nd straight year, he has won the Michigan 400, where he scored his first Super Speedway oval victory. He does it again today. Just about unbeatable. Only beaten twice on Super Speedways this year. Once it was a guy named Darrell Walton, World 600, and once it was Neil Bonnet at Rockingham after Bill Elliott crashed. Today, it's been Elliott. He had his problems early in the going, then he worked them out and smoked them off. 5th place, Earnhardt. 6th place will be Allison. 7th place is Ricky Rudd. 8th is Neil Bonnet. 9th is Dave Marcus. 10th, Benny Parsons. 11th, Ron Bouchard. 12th, Bodine. And 13th, Petty. As they whoa them and slow them and get ready to bring car number 9 into victory lane, and you're with it. You're riding into victory lane at the Michigan International Speedway with a brilliant young driver from Dawsonville, Georgia, Bill Elliott. Beginning to unsaddle here. Ned?
His margin of victory was about 13.5 seconds unofficially. That had dwindled from about a 19-second lead that he'd had earlier, but trying to conserve the fuel there at the end, he needed to slow her down. He did. He had plenty of margin.
Let's go to Chris Economac.
Well, he's being crowded now by pit crew members and people in victory lane more than he was crowded on the racetrack today. Bill Elliott taking his helmet off. Our watch showed he had 13.46 seconds on Darrell Waltrip when he crossed the finish line. A cool drink, he had his face washed, and I might add that Elliott right now looks like the coolest person in all of victory lane. There's quite a crowd here. He's being treated by his crew members like a mother treats a newborn child. He won this race, and as soon as he gets out, we're going to try and get a word with him about how much fuel he really has left in this number 9 with the threaded ducktail out back. Okay, here he's unhooked now, and he'll be coming out in just a moment. The car looks unmarked. There's no dents, scratches, or anything on it. He had quite a nice ride. Oh, here he is here. Hey, Bill, congratulations. Big question on everybody's mind. How much gas do you have in it?
Well, I don't think there's hardly none left.
Really?
Yeah, I was trying to conserve it with every drop I could.
Did they not put enough in at the last stop, or was it figured that way?
Well, it was close, awful close.
You had a great beginning, then you sort of fell back. Was that to test the other guys, or were they really outrunning you?
They were really outrunning me. I couldn't understand what happened to the car. I just couldn't get it hooked up. And then finally, all of a sudden, the car came around and started running.
You're sure of that, huh?
I'm positive.
Listen, congratulations, Bill. It was a great drive. Now, you're 7 for 14. You're batting 500. That's a heck of an average. I don't think anybody's done that since Richard Petty's glory years back when they used to run 50 times a year.
Well, it ain't too bad for this old Coors Mellon Ford, is it?
No, it is. Now, listen, next time around, you're going to have a different carburetor. What's that going to mean for you?
Well, it's hard to say, Chris. It's something we're going to have to go to Daytona and see what happens.
Your car owner, I understand, is ready to get a lawyer.
Well, that's what I have to take up with him. I don't have any idea.
Okay, happy man and a great victory. Bill Elliott, the winner. And following